Chapter 1721. Chen Xiang had seen Peng Renyi's frisbee before, so the speed of that frisbee was extremely fast. He thought that even if he used all his strength, he would not be able to catch up to Peng Renyi's frisbee. However, the frisbee that Yu Fan gave him seemed to be much stronger than the one that Peng Renyi gave him. Chen Xiang did not hesitate to accept this escaping weapon. I will provide information on the people you killed. Of course, the guy the first told you to kill was never a good person. In Divine Prison, there are many who go to hell anyway, just that their luck is better. Yu Fan said. Chen Xiang felt that Peng Renyi was the right choice. He did not need Yu Fan to provide him with a candidate, as the first thing he wanted to do was to kill Peng Renyi. There's one thing I'm curious about. I know that the warehouse is missing some money, and I'm not blind. I also know that you were the one who took it. I just want to know how much money you took away. Yu Fan laughed. In the past few days, I've only been able to get 50 gold coins. Chen Xiang said awkwardly. He said a few times less, but was still surprised. He did not expect Chen Xiang to be able to take away so much silver under his watch. What method did you use? Yu Fan looked at Chen Zhang's awkward face and laughed. You don't have to worry, it's just 5 billion silver coins, right? As long as the higher-ups don't know about it, there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. 50 gold coins was nothing in Yu Fan's eyes. Chen Xiang took out the ring that Steward Tai had given him, and said, "Someone intentionally arranged for me to be here." All he said was this, and Yu Fan understood. It seems like Steward Tai is the first candidate. Yu Fan laughed coldly. This guy just asked me if I saw you, and said he wanted to find you to drink. He probably wants to capture you and exchange you for 30,000 gold. Quote. Chen Xiang laughed sinisterly. Then Master Yu, help me arrange for him to appear. It would be best if he was by himself, that way I can easily kill him. He has divine deity and his strength is not weak. Are you confident? Yu Fan took out a small jade box and handed it over to Chen Xiang. This is a divine talisman worth 400 to 500 spirit coins. It's enough to kill that Steward Tai. Chen Xiang looked at the palm-sized, pale yellow piece of paper. On it was a drawing of a very complex hair-sized spirit grain. It's just a thin piece of paper, yet it contains such powerful strength. Chen Xiang could clearly feel the powerful energy within the divine talisman. This is not a thin piece of paper. The production process is very complicated. Although it can only be used once, the price is much more expensive than some godly or divine weapons. Yu Fan said. To others, this might be something more expensive, but in my eyes, it's nothing, because when I create the divine money, I need to engrave more complicated spirit grain and I made this talisman myself. Chen Xiang was surprised. Doesn't that mean you can just sell the runes? What's the use of money? Quote. Yu Fan shook his head. You don't understand, I am indeed faster at creating these runes than divine money, but once I grasp the essence of making divine money, then my speed will become extremely fast, and I won't need any materials either. In order to create these talismans, one first has to make a thin piece of paper out of the beast skin made from multiple layers of divine beasts. The raw materials used to draw these talismans need to be fused together with some other materials and finally refined to the size of a hair, and then use divine power to make them. Listening to this process, Chen Xiang felt a headache. Are there many of these runes? Chen Xiang suddenly wanted to bring a large number of people back, so that he could use them in the future when he meets strong people. Not much. Right now, both you and I have plenty of time. You can just use this and then I'll make it. Yu Fan said. I will think of a way to get Steward Tai to go to the designated place, you just have to ambush him there. All you need to do is to hold on to this talisman, pour your divine power into it and throw it to others. When you use it, you must pick a good time. Don't let the opponent avoid it. Chen Xiang nodded. Then, Yu Fan told him a place to ambush Steward Tai. In a desolate mountain, Chen Xiang turned into a rock and waited for Steward Tai at the foot of the mountain. Not long after, he saw two shadows quickly flying over to his soul that was wandering outside. Peng Renyi, I didn't expect this fellow to come as well. Chen Xiang was a little happy in his heart, but he was also a little worried. He only had one divine talisman, but there were two people who had come. In order to not let Peng Renyi and Steward Tai be on guard, Chen Xiang used the method inside the changing technique, and created a very realistic doppelganger. He stood there with an anxious expression all over his face. Brothers, you're finally here. Chen Zhang's clone purposely revealed a happy expression. But the ruthless big net that Steward Tai and Peng Renyi responded with covered him directly. Haha, 30,000 gold. Peng Renyi immediately laughed heartily. What are you doing? I've already gotten 100 million silver from the warehouse. Chen Shang shouted in shock and took out a ring. Steward Tai walked over, looked at Chen Shang who was covered by the golden net, and immediately reached out and took the ring from Chen Zhang's hand. He looked at it and was a little surprised, because there really were over 100 million silver coins inside. 30,000 gold was equivalent to 3 trillion silver. As long as they could hand Chen Shang over, they would be able to leave immediately, and even receive a small amount of that. You did well, but it's a pity you're too valuable, you can't blame us. Steward Tai was extremely happy as he gave Chen Shang a heavy kick. Chen Zhang's clone looked at him in anger. When Steward Tai saw this expression, he kicked him fiercely a few more times. Chen Shang, who had turned into a boulder hiding at the side, felt that he could make his move now, because Peng Renyi had walked over, but just as he was about to throw out the divine talisman, a sharp spear suddenly appeared in Peng Renyi's hand and stabbed into the head of the Tai Sei with lightning speed. This Peng Renyi actually dared to attack Steward Tai. He wanted to take all 30,000 gold coins. After Steward Tai's head was pierced through, Peng Renyi quickly unleashed dozens of palm strikes with terrifying power. Every palm strike that landed on Steward Tai's body caused his sturdy body to crack open, and blood to spurt out from his mouth. In the blink of an eye, Peng Renyi's dozens of palm strikes had splattered onto Steward Tai's body, turning his body into a pile of mush. Chen Shang, who was standing at the side and witnessing this scene, was completely stunned by the fatty, who was hiding a knife within his smile. The long spear pierced through the steward's head and out of his forehead. The divine sense soul of the steward was already injured, and his body was instantly crippled. He no longer had the strength to retaliate. At this time, Steward Tai could still look at Peng Renyi with a pair of resentful eyes. This could already be considered very impressive, but he actually had not died yet. Chapter 1722. The thing that left the most impression on Chen Shang was that after doing all of this, he was actually smiling brightly. That kind of smile was as if he had just earned some money. Peng Renyi, you are worse than an animal, I am your savior. It's fine if you didn't repay me, but you still did such an ungrateful thing. Steward Tai spat out fresh blood and screamed in anger. Don't worry, I won't let you die. If you die, the penalty Heavenly God won't be easy to deal with. Peng Renyi laughed. I just want to monopolize this divine money. Although you are currently heavily injured, and will recuperate properly in the future, you will definitely recover completely. If we can still meet again in God's realm in the future, I will definitely receive you with hospitality. Quote. Haha. Peng Renyi laughed out loud and took the storage ring from Steward Tai. Look down on the 100 million silver coins in the ring right now, but the ring was very valuable. Bastard, don't ever think of returning to the God's realm. You don't even have the chance to go to hell. Chen Shang laughed coldly in his heart as he activated the divine talisman, throwing it towards Peng Renyi. Following Chen Zhang's thoughts, the divine talisman appeared above Peng Renyi in an instant, and then, it released countless threads of light, which were profound spirit grains that formed into a giant handprint that flickered with flames, and smashed down with a loud bang, causing the surrounding desolate mountains to crumble, and the ground to crack extremely quickly. The rumbling sound resonated in all directions, and the shock wave was like a raging wave, wreaking havoc on the ground, causing the entire desolate mountain to tremble, and even the ground to crack. Chen Shang threw the talisman out and anxiously ran up to the sky. Seeing the power of the divine talisman, he had a lingering fear. The divine talisman's attack power was extremely concentrated, causing a lot of noise. Even if Chen Shang was a distance away from Peng Renyi, if he did not dodge, he would still be injured by the wave of air. The land quickly calmed down as Chen Shang dug out Peng Renyi and the Steward Tai from within the rubble. Right now, Steward Tai was still not dead, but the injuries on his body was even worse. He was already drenched in blood and there was not a single bit of good meat left in his body. However, he was still laughing crazily in pain, because Peng Renyi, who was beside him, was not any better off, or maybe even worse. Chen Shang, you little bastard. Peng Renyi endured the pain in his heart and uttered a sentence that was filled with endless hatred because he was just one step away from leaving this divine prison. He could also take away a portion of the divine money, but in the blink of an eye, it was as if he had fallen into hell. Thinking of this, he spat out a large mouthful of blood. This is a good gun. Although Steward Tai felt that it was painful for Chen Shang to pull the spear out from the head of Steward Tai, he was still extremely pleased in his heart. This was because he hated Peng Renyi, the ungrateful and despicable person, even more. Chen Shang kept his spear. The weapon Peng Renyi was using at the most crucial moment was definitely not an ordinary weapon. I remember that I still owe you some silver coins. Chen Shang took back the storage ring, and said with a cold smile, "You bastard, don't think that I don't know that you did something to those medicinal ingredients." You, Peng Renyi was so angry that he couldn't say a word. Chen Shang took out the green dragon demon-slaying broadsword, lowered it to his throat, and said coldly, "You are only severely injured right now, you won't die, and I don't want to kill you either. Otherwise, penalty Heavenly God will not let me off. Therefore, you should just hand over the things on your body obediently. I can let you feel a bit more comfortable after this. Otherwise, I won't be polite anymore." It was better to die than to live. As long as he could live, it was better than anything. Peng Renyi anxiously shouted, "This is my most precious treasure, now it all belongs to you." With just a thought, all sorts of random things came out from Peng Renyi's body. There weren't many of them, just about 10 of them, which were all weapons and treasures. Chen Shang put away these things and then activated soul-absorbing devil spell and devouring magic Kung Fu on Peng Renyi. Peng Renyi's strength was far stronger than his, and he needed some time to bring out the opponent's divine soul and divine deity. "What are you doing? Didn't you say to let me go?" Peng Renyi felt Chen Shang making a move on his divine sense and anxiously shouted. "You often lie to others yourself. Have you ever thought that others would lie to you? I was just joking with you." Quote. Last time, when Peng Renyi lied and saw through it, he said that it was because he was joking with Chen Shang. "Relax, I will treat your divine deity well. This thing can be sold in the God's realm and can be sold for a lot of divine money. Even if you die, you should rest in peace." Chen Shang kept on talking in anger, provoking Peng Renyi. Peng Renyi, whose entire body was filled with scars, was gasping for breath. He was so angry that he couldn't say a word, his eyes wide open as he watched Chen Shang pull out his soul and divine deity. "Do you really think $30,000 is so good? Previously, Hell Devil Emperor used 4 divine deities to reward me." Quote. Chen Shang looked at the divine deity that he extracted from his hands, which was about the size of a walnut, sparkling and translucent. The faint softness that it glimmered with, contained an extremely strong power. Previously, Peng Renyi did not understand why the Hell Devil Emperor would use 30,000 gold to reward Chen Shang. Now, he understood that Chen Shang was not as easy to deal with as he had imagined. Peng Renyi had been killed by Chen Shang, and manager Tai, who was standing at the side, was also filled with fear. Chen Shang placed Peng Renyi's soul inside his own divine deity, but he temporarily did not refine it, because his current divine soul far exceeded the physical body, and Peng Renyi's body was placed inside the demon god-slaying tower to be fed to the bats. There was a bloody hole in Steward Tai's forehead, but he was still a very strong person after all. He hadn't died yet, and was only severely injured. Chen Shang was considering whether to kill this steward. Killing Steward Tai would allow him to obtain one divine deity, which was one step closer to his mission. But now that he was inside the divine prison and he was weak, and the help Yu Fan gave him was pitifully little, and this Steward Tai in front of him was not weak either. If he could be of use to him, then everything would be much smoother for him in the future. "I don't want to kill you. If you can make me feel at ease, then I won't kill you," Chen Shang said as he looked at the Steward Tai on the ground. Soul contract. Steward Tai thought about it for a moment before releasing his divine soul to allow Chen Shang to place a trap. Chen Zhang's divine power had entered into the inner part of Steward Tai's soul and was infusing it with the contracted power. This way, Steward Tai wouldn't kill him. "You have to listen to me from now on." Chen Shang took out a bottle of pearl tears and dripped it onto Steward Tai's wound. It had to be said that Pearl's tears were extremely useful. It was just that, in a moment, Director Tai looked much better, as if he could stand up straight. "Steward Tai, is the damage to your soul not too severe?" Chen Shang asked. "You can recover in a few days. Just call me Tai Chang." Steward Tai looked at the bloodstain on the side. It was Peng Renyi's, and now that this bastard had died so tragically and he was still alive, he was more or less happy. With regards to Chen Shang, he also resigned himself to fate. Not only did Chen Shang not kill him, she even saved him. However, in order to ensure his safety, he had made a soul contract with him. This was also a matter that was only natural. Tai Chang did not ask anything, he only knew that Chen Shang was terrifying, even though his cultivation seemed very low. "You can go back first, I'll look for you in a few days," Chen Shang said. Tai Chang left, He did not dare disobey him, because if he did, his soul would suffer the pain of being roasted by flames. Seeing that Tai Chang had walked far away, Chen Shang shouted lightly, "Master you can come out now." Well done. Even though Tai Chang has a divine deity, keeping him alive will be of great help to you in hunting for other divine deity in the future. I will give him some pills so that he can recover quickly so that he can help you hunt for divine deity. In the future, we will contact each other and use the method of keeping secret notes to guide them, then we will leave behind our own information. After Yu Fan finished speaking, his body turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared. In the future, all he needed to do was to mark these markings near the city's bulletin board. In those places, there would be many people leaving their markings, and he would have to frequently go there to see if Yu Fan left any other instructions. Not long after Yu Fan left, Chen Shang sensed a burst of aura approaching. He anxiously took out the flying discs that Yu Fan had given him, sat on them, then activated them. So fast. Just as Chen Shang was praising her, he felt the energy behind him fluctuate. He continued to control the flying discs. He looked back and saw several people riding on octagonal flying discs, chasing after him. Are they all sent by the Hell Devil Emperor? I have to get rid of them as soon as possible. I didn't expect them to arrive so soon. Chen Zhang's frisbee was already fast enough, and the people behind him were not slow either. If not because of the distance and his frisbee was very fast, the people behind would have already attacked. These guys might all be gods on the same level as Master Yu Fan. I have to deal with them carefully. Chen Shang was trying to think of a way to get rid of those people, if only there was another divine talisman like that one. Chen Shang recalled that he had refined many Annihilation Ice Sealdan and Heavenly Annihilation pills from other people's heaven pills. He took out a large box and continuously threw it behind him. Immediately, loud banging sounds were heard, as well as waves of bone-piercing cold chi. His Ice Sealdan's destructive cold chi had frozen a large part of the forest. However, it could not last for long before it was melted by a scorching wave of air. In the blink of an eye, it had turned back into a sea of fire. This was the power of the people behind them. So terrifying. How could he be so powerful? Are they sent by the Hell Devil Emperor or not? Chen Shang could feel that heat wave, which caused him to be situated in the center of the earth. Only DTN's core could feel that kind of terrifying heat wave. Chapter 1723. If these people came earlier, Chen Shang would have been captured. Now that he was using the flying disc with all his might, his speed had reached its limit, which was the fastest speed he had ever had, but the few people behind him were still closely following him, finding it difficult to escape. Although he was being chased closely, Chen Shang still maintained his calm. Previously, someone had launched a few attacks at him, but none of them had hit him, and he had only been able to dodge for a short while, so the attacks behind would be far away. In this kind of high-speed chase, as long as he dodged slightly, the attacks behind would be very misaligned, and would be very hard to hit. This isn't the way to go on. After being chased for 2 hours, Chen Shang was already far away from the city where the Fengshen native bank was. Why don't you go to the other planets to take a look? Your frisbee is so fast right now anyway, so it won't be too late to come back after you get rid of those guys behind you. Long Shui gave Chen Shang an idea. Chen Shang immediately controlled the flying discs and flew high into the sky. Not long after, he flew out of the number 1 bane into the dusky space outside, and then flew towards a nearby red bane star. The people at the back continued to chase closely. Chen Shang felt that these people were not sent by the Hell Devil Emperor, but rather prisoners sent to the divine prison. There were 6 of them in total, and their auras were quite strong. However, the energy fluctuations from their bodies were a bit turbid. Normally, this sort of situation was caused by long periods of failure to break through, or by slow cultivation. If it was someone sent down from the god's realm, it would definitely not be like this, because people with the same cultivation level, who had a pure god power, would all be strong. These guys should be the same as Tian Hao, possessing the power of a god. However, they are definitely not as powerful as Tian Hao. If I were to be surrounded and attacked by them, I would definitely not have the strength to fight back. Chen Shang looked at the approaching blood-colored Bane star, his expression becoming more and more serious. The reason he was able to escape until now was all because of the flying discs beneath his feet. He was unable to use his spatial energy here, and with his speed, he had already been caught. If he continued at this speed, as long as he used up all his energy, his speed, he would be caught sooner or later. With their strength, even if we use super old poison S, it would still be hard to defeat them, unless the quantity is very, very large. Chen Xiang could only rely on super old poison and God Eclipse powder now. If he had to fight against one, he would still dare to try. Right now, he could only think of a way to escape. Soon, he arrived at the second bane and entered one of its gas barriers. It was the same as the first bane, except that there was more ocean and there wasn't that much life force in it, so it was a bit eerily silent. Chen Xiang had been busy with collecting money and did not know about the other bane stars, so he did not know about these. Only now that he was here did he remember someone saying that the other bane stars were not like bane stars 1. Will there be a problem? It is said that each bane has a different kind of prisoner, and the energy shields around the bane are used to restrict prisoners from entering and exiting. Chen Xiang felt that the atmosphere here was a little strange and immediately became vigilant. They didn't catch up, Long Shui shouted in surprise. This surprised Chen Xiang, and he started to worry secretly. Previously, the few people had chased him, but now they had suddenly stopped, obviously because they were afraid of entering the bane of the bane. Could it be that I won't be able to get out the moment I enter? Chen Xiang controlled the frisbee, flying to the other side, then passing through the energy shield. It was very easy to get out, and he also saw the backs of those people, they had already given up. Chen Xiang felt that it was extremely strange, why didn't they come in? Could it be that there is some extremely terrifying being here? Quote. Long Shui yawned. Don't worry about it, anyway, aren't you all right now? Then should I go in or not? Chen Xiang was suddenly filled with curiosity towards the second bane, he wanted to go in and find out what was there that could actually scare away a few experts with God's strength. Go and take a look. In any case, the flying discs under your feet are so fast. If you encounter any danger, run. Long Shui was the same as Chen Xiang. As long as he encountered this kind of thing and didn't try to figure it out, he would feel itchy in his heart. Chen Xiang approached the ground and picked up a piece of soil. The quality of the soil here was extremely poor, even lower than the 9 heaven world, but the quality of the soil here was extremely good. Chen Xiang, who was standing on the flying discs, was extremely vigilant. As long as there was even the slightest movement, he would immediately control the flying discs to fly back to their original locations. He was currently flying in a wetland. There were many green grasses here, and more than half of them were soaked in clean water. There were even many fish swimming around in groups within the grasses. Occasionally, large groups of birds would fly over to fish. Strange, why would there be such a common bird beast in this kind of place? The beasts here are exactly the same as the ones I encountered when I was young. Chen Xiang frowned, looking at a black bear that was currently fishing on the shore. Previously, in the endless heaven realm, even the weakest of them, the bird and fish, had Holy Spirit chi in their bodies. However, all the birds and beasts he had encountered in Bane 2 were exactly the same as the mortal world he had lived in before. This made him feel nostalgic, as if he had been a child all those years ago. Just as he was reminiscing about the good times of his childhood, he felt a sudden breeze, followed by a burning sensation on his cheeks, and he even felt the bones in his face shatter. It was not because the force that attacked him was hot, but because the pain was too excruciating. The pain was like being burned in a fire, it came too suddenly. He didn't know if it was because he was hit by a fist or by a foot. The boulder was smashed to pieces by his strong body. Clutching his aching cheek, he stood up and found himself at the top of a mountain on a small island, surrounded by the endless blue sea. He was far away from the green and beautiful wetland he had just seen. What happened just now? Where's my frisbee? Chen Zhang's face was full of shock. If it wasn't for his face being in too much pain, he wouldn't have thought that he had been attacked. Although he had suffered a heavy blow, only his face was in pain. What he could not understand was how he could fly so far away all of a sudden, and was many times faster than his frisbee. Just as he was looking around and focusing on his defense, another gentle breeze blew past. This time, he was still unable to defend against it. He only felt a sharp pain coming from the other side of his face, and when he reacted, he felt as if he had hit a hard block. Isn't this my frisbee? Quote, Chen Xiang had just heavily crashed into the flying discs. What the hell? His heart was filled with fear. Chapter 1724. Chen Xiang had just sat up, and another gust of wind blew past. After the previous 2 times, he had become smarter, so he hastily dodged. If he was hit again, he could have been hit to death by the wind. After dodging, he didn't let down his guard because the gust of wind was still blowing. He controlled the frisbee and flew quickly. He knew that he had met a very powerful person who was playing around with him. Right now, if he wanted to leave this place, it would not be as easy as he thought. Not long after his frisbee flew, a strong wind blew down from the sky, and he immediately felt his internal organs being squeezed tightly together. He felt a sweet taste in his throat, and a large amount of blood gushed out. Even though his internal injuries were severe, he had fought through hundreds of battles and managed to dodge that attack in that critical moment. This terrifying attack came from the sky. After Chen Xiang dodged it, he struck the frisbee, turning it into powder. Chen Xiang was furious in his heart. These flying discs were extremely important to him, but they were actually destroyed. What was angry was that he did not even know what it was. Boom! He suddenly heard a loud sound, and his head was hit. This time there was no breeze, not even a breath. He could not feel that someone was attacking him. After being hit, he was sent flying again. He felt as if he had been struck by a soft object, and he was heavily injured. Although that strike had severely injured his head, the force had cleverly transferred itself into his body. The serious injury this time was much more severe than the time he was attacked by the hell-suppressing guardians. He knew that his body had sunk into a patch of soil. He felt that it might be some mud mountains that had yet to turn into stone. It's over, this guy is very powerful, Long Shui said dejectedly. The lucky thing is, this guy doesn't want to kill you. Chen Xiang was no longer able to move. All of the meridians in his body had been severely damaged, and even his soul had become a little sluggish. What worried him the most was that there were actually cracks appearing on his divine deity. That attack just now was too terrifying. Without any warning, it had injured him in an instant. What made him feel the most inferiority was that he had never seen anyone like that before. Now he understood why those 5 fellows from before hadn't chased him in. It was because they had a very scary person hidden inside. Hee, you're still alive, right? A naughty laugh came from outside. It sounded like a naughty guy. Chen Zhang's body sank deeply into a mountain, forming a cave. He wanted to reply, but he couldn't speak. I'll help you get out. Chen Xiang instantly had a bad premonition. Sure enough, he felt a sharp pain in his back, as he was actually blasted out by a force that cut through a mountain. Puff! Chen Xiang spat out a mouthful of blood. He realized that he was simply too weak. With just a few casual blows from others, he was already half dead. He lay on a soft patch of grass with his eyes half open, looking at the blue sky. Those consecutive words had made him feel as if his entire world had turned dark, and now he was greedily admiring the beautiful blue sky, worried that he would never see it again. When he was looking, he suddenly saw a terrifying face, or to be more accurate, it was a person wearing a green mask. The green mask was very ugly, and unlike a normal mask, it didn't have any holes for eyes to see. However, there was a pair of ugly eyes on it, one big and one small, both with a nose and mouth drawn. But no matter how he looked at it, it looked like the work of a child. It looked extremely funny, but Chen Xiang couldn't laugh because the masked guy was very scary. Who are you? Asked. After saying these 3 words, he felt a lot more pain. I won't tell you, hee. From the sound of it, it sounded like the voice of an old man. Fine, you and I have no enmity with each other, why did you attack me? Chen Xiang asked again. His words hurt even more, and the pain made him break out in cold sweat. Humans and ants don't have much hatred between them, but why would humans hurt ants sometimes? That person said very seriously. Chen Xiang thought about it. That was because ants were nothing in the eyes of humans. Killing them was one thing, but that was because humans were strong, and ants could not resist or do anything to humans. He understood what this person meant. He was saying that he was very weak. With his strength, what could he possibly do? Who asked him to be so weak? Chen Xiang was speechless and closed his eyes. He accepted his fate so quickly. The man chuckled. So what? I can't move right now. My soul has suffered a heavy blow. Chen Xiang said powerlessly. Don't think that I don't know. Your body is currently recovering quickly, and your soul is also recovering quickly under the circulation of a strange cultivation technique. This person saw through it with a single glance, causing Chen Xiang to be even more shocked. His physical body's recovery speed was indeed very fast, and the mental cultivation method he used with the heavenly alchemy was able to heal his injured soul, so the recovery speed was also not bad. With your strength, this divine prison shouldn't be able to trap you. If you want to gather 1,000 divine coins, it will be simple. Chen Xiang said. he felt that the strength of the person in front of him would definitely far surpass the strength of the few fellows who were chasing after him. 1,000 gold coins? You're wrong. If I want to go out and get $1 billion, I probably won't be able to get it in my lifetime. The man laughed. He wasn't upset about it. Can't you just charge out? Chen Shang asked again. His injuries had stabilized, and his words were no longer painful. It's not that easy. Do you think the penalty heavenly god is like you? The man mocked. Of course, it's not impossible for me to use other methods to get out, but if I want to leave openly, I have to at least go through the main entrance and beat penalty heavenly god down, just like how I beat you up just now. When Chen Shang heard this, he was extremely unhappy, but he could not do anything about it. Now, he knew what kind of fellow he would meet. It was a very boring expert who was locked up here. He felt that he would not be killed because the person in front of him still needed to keep his little life to accompany him. Did you just come in here? I don't really understand. A weak fellow like you can actually survive in the god's realm, and even get beaten into the divine prison. The man was also curious about Chen Shang. Yes, I only came here because I was hunted down. God knows how dangerous this place is. Chen Shang was extremely helpless. If he had known more about this second calamity fiend, he wouldn't have ended up like this. I wasn't sent to the divine prison, I broke in from somewhere else. Chen Shang sighed. Oh, could you be from Life Forest? In that case, it makes sense. That man nodded. Who are you being chased? They actually chased us to such a place. Hell Devil Emperor, Chen Shang said. Really? That person was in disbelief. Hell Devil Emperor wants to kill a guy like you. If you don't believe me, go take a look at Bane 1, where people are looking for me. But I'm not worth much. Hell Devil Emperor only used 30,000 gold to place a bounty on me. Chen Shang said. It's only worth 30,000. The man was disappointed, but after thinking about it, he continued, however, for Hell Devil Emperor to extend its power all the way to this place to capture you, you must have a very high price. 30,000 gold coins, to those pitiful people who are struggling for 1,000 gold coins, is a very high price. Chen Shang said. Before I came in here, Hell Devil Emperor used 4 divine deities to reward me. I might even be worth $1 billion. You can go and talk to Hell Devil Emperor's people about the price. Maybe Hell Devil Emperor is willing to offer this price. Hee, I'm not interested. I rather hate this fellow called Hell Devil Emperor, but I want to know, why does Hell Devil Emperor think so highly of you? The man looked at Chen Shang carefully, and suddenly went silent, as though he had found something, causing him to fall into deep thought. Chen Shang said. Anyways, since I've landed in your hands, even if I'm dead, I won't be myself. I'll just tell you then. I think it's probably because I've cultivated the heavenly alchemy. Quote. As expected, that person could actually see it right away. If it's really like this, then I should even more so hand you over to the Hell Devil Emperor. It isn't a good thing for him to obtain the heavenly alchemy. Then wouldn't it be fine if you just kill me and destroy my soul? Chen Shang curled his lips and said. That won't do. I can't kill you. That person shook his head. Even if I have thousands of reasons to kill you, I definitely can't. Why? Chen Shang was suddenly confused and cursed in his heart. You almost killed me just now, you bastard. You want to know? That person said, unless you tell me where the 3 divine weapons in your possession came from. It's a long story. Chen Shang told the story of how he obtained these 3 divine weapons to the person in front of him. Even though he had beaten him up quite a bit, Chen Shang did not feel any ill intentions from him. The man thought for a moment and said, seems like you and 4 symbols divine weapons are fated to meet. I wonder if you know Qi Shi. Quote. Chen Shang was startled. The person in front of him asked him about him obtaining the 4 symbols divine weapons, and now he asked Qi Shi. In that case, he had once stayed in the 9 heaven world. Long Shui was also curious. In her mind she quickly recalled the strong rankers she knew back then, and whether there were any mischievous old fellows there. Just as Chen Shang wanted to answer, Long Shui suddenly ran out. Old cyan bug, so it's you, bastard. Long Shui extended his hand to lift the man's mask. It was actually easy to do so, which meant that the man was not guarding against her. It really is you, Long Shui coldly snorted. Beneath the green mask was an old man with a slightly wrinkled face. He had a small green beard on his chin, and his eyebrows were slightly long as they drooped. He was currently looking at Long Shui with a smile, and had a surprised expression. Damn girl, haha, you're so weak right now. I can crush you to death with one finger. Ha ha, the old man pointed his finger at Long Shui's nose and laughed. Just as Chen Shang had thought, the old man in front of him was a person at the time of Long Shui, and their relationship was very good. Just now, Long Shui had called this old man the old cyan bug. When Chen Shang thought about it a little, he knew that this old man was most likely the Azure Dragon from back then. Chapter 1725. Long Shui put her hands on her waist and pouted, her face full of anger at the old man who was laughing heartily. Old cyan bug, are you done laughing? Wasn't it just stealing the Tianlong sword back then? You don't have to hate me so much now. Long Shui snorted and fiercely stepped on the old man's leg. Chen Shang was now certain that this old cyan bug was the Azure Dragon. Long Shui had said before that she had once fought with the Azure Dragon for the head of the 7 Dragons Sword S. That's right, I was extremely unconvinced when you took the Tianlong sword away. I had previously held my breath, but after seeing your current appearance, I can't help but laugh. The green dragon laughed without a care. The heavenly dragon supreme lord back then, was actually down to the point where he didn't even have divine deity. Long Shui was so angry that her chest was moving up and down. Although she was angry, she did not hate the green dragon too much. Alright, I won't laugh at you. What's your relationship with this brat? Are you going to use this kid to start all over again? But come to think of it, it is very possible that the heavenly alchemy that he cultivates is special. The green dragon's expression was somewhat stern, looking at Chen Shang who was lying on the ground. Long Shui said angrily, Old cyan bug, you injured him. You have to compensate him, or else you won't be finished with me. The Azure Dragon rubbed his beard and said with a smile, who asked him to be so weak? He was able to become like this with just a few moves. You can't blame me. Seeing Long Shui's angry look, the green dragon laughed. Alright, how do you want me to compensate him? Is it some kind of a treasure? I don't have any, I'm completely broke. Other than this old bone, I have nothing else. Long Shui folded his arms across his chest. You're a dragon now, so your dragon scales are definitely not bad. Bring out 100 dragon scales. The green dragon laughed. Do you want me to draw a dragon tendon or two and give you a few buckets of dragon blood? If possible, that would be for the best. Long Shui said. In your dreams, my dragon scales are extremely valuable. The Azure Dragon snorted. How about this? I help him heal his wounds quickly, and then I'll give you some fruits. Hearing that there was food, Long Shui immediately became angry, and anxiously asked, is it some kind of divine fruit or something? Just like the holy fruit, do you want it or not? Godly fruit, I want to eat, too. I haven't seen it in years. As the green dragon spoke, his palm faced Chen Shang, releasing a burst of light green-colored clouds that enveloped Chen Zhang's body. Chen Zhang's body was suddenly surrounded by water droplets, making him look like a drop of water, but Chen Shang could see that it was a type of life force visible to the naked eye. A large amount of water droplets drilled into his body. He only felt that his severely injured body was recovering extremely quickly. In just a short half an hour, Chen Shang had fully recovered from his injuries, and even Long Shui was shocked. This was because in her opinion, Chen Zhang's injuries could only be healed after 10 days to half a month. This is for you. The Azure Dragon took out a large basket of snow jade-like peaches. The value of these holy peach refinement pills aren't high, but the taste is very good. It should be enough to raise your strength by quite a lot. Long Shui immediately laughed tenderly. Old cyan bug, at least you have some conscience. But I didn't expect that you could improve your strength so quickly, leaving behind a bunch of old friends. The Azure Dragon sighed and said, what's the use of this? Am I not a prisoner now? Quote. Chen Shang was now able to stand up. He had been inexplicably injured by the green dragon, and originally, he still had a lot of grievances in his heart. However, the green dragon suddenly apologized to him at this time, which made him somewhat stunned. Young man, I am so sorry. I had thought that some untactful fellows would come and cause trouble for me, so I decided to take action. Please forgive me, the green dragon said to Chen Shang with a smile. Forget it, I'm pretty good right now anyway. Chen Shang accepted the Azure Dragon's apology. Towards this kind of ancient rancor, he would even have a lot of respect for them, not to mention that his green dragon demon slain broadsword was related to this Azure Dragon greatly. Senior Azure Dragon, when Senior Vermilion Bird came in, were you the one who helped her out? Chen Shang asked. After he entered, he knew that this space was extremely restricted. The vermilion bird being able to leave was definitely not a coincidence. That's right, she accidentally barged into this place. I used quite a bit of effort to help her get out. I didn't expect to meet another old friend so soon. The Azure Dragon looked at Long Shui and pulled at Long Shui's hair. I heard that this girl died many years ago, and at that time, I was still sad for a bit. I didn't expect that after so many years, I could see her alive and kicking. As Long Shui ate a peach, he stuck out his tongue at the green dragon. It was obvious that the two were on good terms with each other, but it was just that there were usually some small conflicts between them. Then Senior, can you help us get out of here? Chen Shang asked. If the Azure Dragon could help him, he could immediately leave this damned place. Of course you can. After you obtain my green dragon demon slain broadsword, you can consider yourself fated with me. I can see that this little girl recovered so quickly after her rebirth. You must have put in a lot of effort. Quote. The Azure Dragon looked at Long Shui lovingly. In his eyes, Long Shui was like his granddaughter. However, you're being chased by the Hell Devil Emperor right now, and before that, he even used 4 divine deities to place a bounty. I think that even if you leave this place, you would definitely not have an easy time. The Azure Dragon's expression became somewhat serious. If Hell Devil Emperor is determined to do something, he won't give up. That's why I think you should stay here for a while to make yourself stronger. Chen Shang was overjoyed. The green dragon was an extremely powerful god. If he had his guidance, he might be able to level up quickly. Old Cyan Bug, do you have any way to make his body stronger faster? Long Shui asked. The human body is too weak, and we have to rely on ourselves to cultivate it. This is such a problem. If his body does not break through, I am afraid it will be difficult for him to cultivate Emperor Soul. Quote. I know that. There is only one way for humans to cultivate their powerful bodies quickly, and that is to eat the sacred pills while practicing superior body tempering techniques at the same time. The green dragon said. He has the heavenly alchemy, so he can use it to cultivate his physical body. His speed is still passable, but if he wants to be faster, he needs to eat the holy pellet. If I had known this would happen, I would have gotten more holy pellets when I was in God's realm. They would be useful to me now. Chen Shang laughed. It doesn't matter, I am a pill refiner myself, and can concoct tier 8 pills very quickly. The Azure Dragon was a little surprised. Really? Back then, although Qi Shi was also a cultivator of the heavenly alchemy, he did not use this technique on alchemy. I never thought that you would actually step onto the right path. Long Shui asked. Old Cyan Bug, what exactly happened to you in God's realm? Why were they locked up here? Aren't you very strong? Quote. Chapter 1726. The green dragon shook his head. My luck is not bad. Although I have broken into the divine prison, I can still be free and carefree here. Old Bing was different. He was in trouble now, even though he was also pretty strong. But, sigh. Long Shui frowned, and shook the green dragon's arm. What's wrong with Old Bing? His supreme dragon blood is with me, I helped him get it back. Quote. The green dragon said, he's been controlled by someone, and is now the mount of a great character in the god's realm. Every time that great character goes out, he would change into the shape of a dragon, and then stand between the 2 horns on his head. Although he told me that it was alright, but for me, it's still better for me to die early and reincarnate. Quote. Long Shui was a little angry. How can this be? Was he willing or forced? Quote. The Azure Dragon sneered. Of course he was forced. Even if he has a screw loose, he wouldn't do such a stupid thing to be someone else's mount. Back then, Long Shui had been taken care of by the Ice Dragon and the Green Dragon, the dragon that was born from heaven and earth, and Long Shui was now like a family member in their eyes. Although they would usually ridicule each other, their relationship was very good. Long Shui was also in the same boat. He had long known that the Ice Dragon was not doing well in the god's realm, but he hadn't thought that it would be poor to such an extent. Old Cyan Bug, then aren't you being too disloyal? You actually refused to help him. Long Shui slapped the Azure Dragon angrily. The Azure Dragon let out another long sigh. Didn't I just help him, and then get dragged in? Long Shui said angrily. Which bastard is it in God's realm? In the future, when I go up, I'll let that little scoundrel trample him to death. Quote. The green dragon looked at Chen Shang and laughed. If one day he can go to God's realm, there might be a chance, but the condition is that he has fully researched the heavenly alchemy. Quick, tell me, who is that fellow who enslaved Old Ice? Long Shui asked. This fellow is much more powerful than the Hell Devil Emperor. If you guys had stayed here for a while, you should have heard of him. I don't know that guy's name, but I do know his name. Everyone calls him the God of Fortune, the one who makes money. The Azure Dragon said, although the Hell Devil Emperor is unreasonable, he can only be unreasonable in this kind of damned place. If he is in the God's realm, he would be like a tame kitten whenever he sees the God of Fortune. He wouldn't even dare to lift his head in front of the God of Fortune. Chen Shang and Long Shui looked at each other. They obviously knew the God of Fortune's position in the God's realm. Forget about the God of Fortune himself, even the subordinates of the God of Fortune would definitely be extremely powerful. So what? Sooner or later, I will make him free. Long Shui was still very angry. What kind of ability is forcing others? If not for the penalty Heavenly God helping me secretly and throwing it here, I would have also been taken to the auction. My fate is the same as old ice. Quote. Chen Shang asked, how do I go to the God's realm? He was also Qi Shi's good friend and also Long Huishan's ancestor. Now that he found out about the ice dragon's situation, he the same as Long Shui, wanted to immediately go to the God's realm. With the Emperor Soul's jade bones, being able to pass through a heaven-defying gate is only a way to pass through, which is to say, to reach the God's realm. The Green Dragon said. Jade bones were the strongest parts of the body. Of course, that was in the sense of being here, since there was definitely an even stronger physique in the God's realm. The Emperor's Soul's jade bones was still far from this level. I have the Emperor's Soul now, but I don't have the jade bone. It looks like I'll be there soon. Long Shui said, can I still go without divine deity? The Azure Dragon smiled, of course you can. Didn't I also not have any divine deity back then? In fact, many cultivators in the God's realm don't have divine deity. Do you think that divine deity can be cultivated so easily? If not, divine deity would not have been sold for 10 or 20 million divine coins. Quote. Long Shui curled his lips and said, there's no pressure for me, and this brat also has divine deity. It's just that I don't know how he's going to become stronger. The Azure Dragon nodded. With divine deity, it's even better. Then, you will use the power of the physical body and the power of the divine soul to fuse together with the power of the divine deity. The three of them will fuse together and unearth the strongest power in your body. Oh yeah, what's going on outside? Tell me the details. The Green Dragon suddenly started to wonder how Chen Shang had gotten here. Chen Shang told the Azure Dragon about him being in Bane 1, as well as his cooperation with Yu Fan. Yu Fan is not bad, but we don't need to help him hunt divine deity now. Long Shui laughed, the old cyan bug will be able to help us get out when the time comes. The Azure Dragon coldly snorted and said, that's not bad. Yu Fan, this guy has hidden a lot of things from you guys, bullied you guys because you don't know this divine prison, then tricked you to play. Although this guy looks like he's helping you guys, he's very insidious. Quote. Fortunately, you bumped into me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to leave this place for the rest of your life. Chen Shang and Long Shui frowned, their faces filled with suspicion. Let me tell you guys, Yu Fan said, it's fine if you kill people here, right? The Azure Dragon asked. Chen Shang nodded. If you kill someone here, something big will happen. Do you think the penalty Heavenly God doesn't know? He knows what is going on around here. The moment you entered the divine prison, your killing intent was already recorded by him, and after you hunt for 20 of them and get the divine money from Yu Fan, when that time comes, you might even go to hell. Quote. We will still meet the Hell Devil Emperor in the end. Hearing that, Chen Zhang's face turned cold. His face was filled with killing intent, that Yu Fan actually lied to him. Of course, only I am clear about the rules of the divine prison. The others are usually not clear about it, because I am familiar with the penalty Heavenly God. However, you don't have to worry, you can continue to pretend to help him hunt divine deity. But, don't give him the divine deity first, and use the information he provided to you to find a suitable target. Long Shui said angrily, but we already gave him a set of divine deity. I never thought that this guy would actually pretend to be so similar and swindle us. The Green Dragon said with a smile, it's fine. Weren't you in a predicament at that time? At that time, someone extended a helping hand to you guys, and even lied to you guys without your divine prison knowing about it. Even in your situation, I would have died in his hands. Quote. Thank you, Senior. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid I would have been destroyed here. Chen Shang immediately thanked him. How big a deal. However, you must remember this. You must treat this little girl well in the future. Although she is a bit naughty, she is very loyal. The Azure Dragon laughed. Long Shui chuckled, Old Cyan Bug, it's rare for you to say such good things about me. So what are we going to do? This brat needs medicinal herbs to learn how to refine pills, and he was also given the tracing mantra by the Hell Devil Emperor. Once he goes out, it wouldn't be long before he gets targeted again. Isn't it just a tracing mantra? Although I am not a great god like the Hell Devil Emperor, I am still the big brother of the Dragon Clan in the past, so it will not be difficult for me. The Azure Dragon took out a green cloak. Although the tracing mantra can find you, but you can activate this cloak, and then the cloak can make you invisible. At the same time, you can also fly with the fastest speed. Even though Hell Devil Emperor has your whereabouts, he can't report to you all the time, right? Divine Prison is not connected to the outside world. Even if he wanted to send a message, it would take some time. Quote. Long Shui immediately snatched the green cape back. Nice stuff, did you give it to him? The Azure Dragon hurriedly shouted, of course not to give it to him. This is my treasure, but it's a very powerful divine artifact. I'm only lending it to him temporarily. Don't pay it back. Isn't it just a divine tool? What's there to be proud of? I'll have one later. Long Shui snorted and handed it over to Chen Shang. However, she had already planned to let Lu Munger and the others see if there was any way to refine one in the future. You should go find the medicinal ingredients first and come back here after you find one. When you can concoct the holy elixir, I will wish you another success in tempering your body. The green dragon patted Chen Zhang's shoulder. He had high hopes for Chen Shang. Chen Shang nodded as he returned to the ring. After bidding farewell to the green dragon, Chen Shang put on his cape and left Bane too. The green cloak was extremely powerful. With just a bit of his divine power, he was able to move incredibly fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already far away from Bane too. I wonder if those guys are still out there. Long Shui replied, if I had known earlier, I would have killed them with the old cyan bug. This won't do. If the Azure Dragon is going to kill someone, then it will be even more difficult for us to leave this place in the future. So, let's just fight. Chen Shang said. Once I become strong, I must obtain more divine deity here. And that Yu Fan, he's too despicable, we have to make him suffer a little. Long Shui snorted. Chen Shang quickly returned to the first calamity zone and secretly went to find Tai Chang. However, Yu Fan did not know that he had returned, and he did not want Yu Fan to know either. As the steward of the house, Tai Chang had a bit of a status. He had a residence outside the Fengshen Native Bank, and Chen Shang had been there once. Tai Chang, help me purchase the ingredients for the Heavenly Soul Pill. I'll come look for you in a few days. After Chen Shang finished speaking, he instructed again, regarding the matters between me and you, please do not tell anyone else. If Yu Fan asks, do not say too much. Seeing Tai Chang passing by, Chen Shang sent a sound transmission to him and quickly left. He wouldn't stay in one spot for too long, lest the Hell Devil Emperor locate him. After instructing Tai Chang, he immediately returned back to the Calamity Second Star. He wanted to get some spirit liquid in the next few days to duplicate the Sky Soul Pellet ingredients for the Immortal Grade 9. With Chen Shang and Long Shui here, he was very happy. At the same time, he could understand a bit of his old friend's situation and hear what happened in Nine Heaven World. Chapter 1727. After knowing what had happened in Nine Heaven World, the Azure Dragon sighed incessantly. It seemed like he wanted to return, because most of his old friends were there, and only a few of them had entered the God's realm. Old Cyan Bug, where's the big flame lion? He should have gone to the God's realm as well. Long Shui asked. His luck is not bad. After being heavily injured, he successfully escaped. However, with his temper, it shouldn't be long before he will cause trouble again. I don't know how he is right now either. The Azure Dragon smiled helplessly. I hope that after experiencing it this time, he will be able to change his fiery temper. Long Shui rubbed her cheeks, looked at the beast meat on the fire, and muttered, I really want to go to God's realm to save old Bing, thinking that he would be a mount for me every day. I feel very uncomfortable. The green dragon sighed, me too, but there's nothing we can do about it. Those fellows are too powerful, even if we can go to God's realm now, we won't be able to beat them. Chen Shang said. With the God of Fortune's position in the God's realm, there must be a lot of powerful gods who have a good relationship with him. Not to mention dealing with the God of Fortune, even his disciples would be enough to cause a headache. Long Shui leaned on Chen Zhang's shoulder. She also knew how powerful those gods were, but she was still full of hope. Little scoundrel, you must try your best to save old ice for me in the future. Of course. As long as I have time, I will definitely do it. Chen Shang caressed Long Shui's face and smiled at her confidently. The green dragon nodded with a smile. Of course he could tell that the relationship between Chen Shang and himself was not ordinary. Senior Azure Dragon, I want to ask you something. You might have heard of it in the God's realm. Chen Shang told the Azure Dragon about the divine tomb of the mortal world that he was born in, where his father was still guarding. I had heard of this tomb a long time ago. It is indeed very mysterious. A little hawk inside the sacred beast's ancient realm once guarded this tomb and then entered the God's realm. I came to God's realm to inquire about this matter. Quote. The green dragon recalled what happened back then. Back in the nine-heaven world, there were many unanswered questions. Where did that God come from? Could the heavenly alchemy have been brought down by him? Long Shui asked. The big white cat saw a divine deity from the profound cold ancient realm, and obtained the heaven-earth killing method and the heavenly alchemy. The big lion cultivates the heaven-earth killing method and the heavenly alchemy, becoming the 10 heavens supreme lord. The green dragon replied, I am not sure about that. In short, there was a godly battle at profound cold ancient realms place that caused the entire area to turn into a world of ice and snow. Up until now, no one has entered deep inside. As for the gods in the tomb, I feel that they should be forbidden by the various divine halls, so that person cannot be mentioned. Quote. This made Chen Shang and Long Shui even more curious. The origins of the god in the tomb was even greater than they had imagined. They had originally thought that it was an ordinary little god or something similar. What's going on with the shrine up there? Chen Shang asked. Are all the shrines powerful? There are only 300 deities Templar, and there are many different types of deities. However, there were only a few people who were familiar with the place, such as the Wealth Divine Palace S, the Fire Divine Palace S, the Thunder God Hall, etc. The demonic shrine was also the Hell Devil Emperor's shrine. These are all powerful deities' temples, but the majority of the other deities' temples are affiliated with them. The Green Dragon said. Is there a temple of the dragon? Long Shui asked. Not at the moment. Originally, I wanted to set up a place and gather all of the God's realm's dragons together. Who knew that old ice would bring them here? The green dragon said. I'll build one from now on. Long Shui smiled and said, then I will be the dragon god. It's not easy to establish a divine palace, because there are 300 allowed places above. If you want to establish a divine palace which is recognized by the all divine palaces, there are only two ways. One is to use a large amount of divine money to buy a shrine, and then change it to your own. The second is to buy out the divine gods of the all-divine palaces, and let them allow you to establish your 301 shrine. Quote. HMPH, if I don't leave with these two methods, I won't get their permission. If they dare to cause trouble, we'll beat them up. Long Shui did not care. Chen Shang asked. Then what is the all-divine palaces? All-divine palaces was something created by the cooperation of the 300 divine halls. Every once in a while, the gods of the 300 divine halls would gather together, or when there are big matters they would come together to discuss. Right now, the penalty heavenly god that is in charge of the all-divine palaces, is equivalent to maintaining the order of the god's realm. Long Shui said. Then doesn't that mean that penalty heavenly god can do whatever he wants? The Azure Dragon shook his head. Of course not, the penalty heavenly god is also restricted. If it's a small matter, the other gods will not interfere, but if it's a big matter, the penalty heavenly god cannot decide for himself, if not he will be allied by the other gods and be sealed in hell. In the god's realm, all the gods in the various halls have similar strength. It's hard to tell who's the one-on-one, and as long as there's no conflict between them, they wouldn't fight each other. I heard that for many years, they've never fought against each other before. The Azure Dragon said, however, once a god is attacked, there will only be one result, which is going to hell. A group of gods had died in profound cold ancient realm, and there was still a very strong one in the mortal world waiting to be revived. This caused Chen Shang to be a little worried. If that god really caused a ruckus in Nine Heaven World, wouldn't it cause a lot of trouble? Chen Shang decided that before heading to the god's realm, he would definitely go take a look at the divine tomb as well as the depths of the profound cold ancient realm. Senior Azure Dragon, how much do you know about May Emperor? This woman has already appeared. Chen Shang really wanted to understand more about the May Emperor. After all, he saw the Mei Emperor as a huge threat and he needed to get rid of it as soon as possible. This woman is very dangerous, very scary. And the cultivation technique is a forbidden evil technique from the god's realm. The green dragon's face changed. That year, she brought disaster upon a large number of experts, turning the sky and earth upside down in Nine Heaven World, and bewitched many people to besiege Qixi, causing the death of the Nine Heaven World. I suspect that she has a very close relationship with the Hell Devil Emperor. If she appears again, her power will definitely be even greater. Quote. Long Shui said, I really want to go back and stop this woman. Chen Shang nodded his head, otherwise, it would be unimaginable. Oh right, old cyan bug, you have been in the god's realm for so long, do you know how to cultivate your soul? Long Shui asked. Both Shui Shenxian and Shui Shenxian had failed to cultivate a divine soul within the ring, so she was a little anxious, because from the looks of it, they had stayed here for a period of time. Of course there is. Our dragon race is experts in cultivating to become deities. I have been in the god's realm for so long, if I can find such a method then wouldn't I have wasted my time there? The Azure Dragon laughed. With the Azure Dragon here, Chen Shang and the others were safe, so Long Shui made Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er put down the things by their hands and came out of the serene jade ring. Chapter 1728. When the green dragon saw the two beautiful women, Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er, he curled his lips and looked at Chen Shang, revealing an expression that said he understood what he was doing. Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er already knew about the Azure Dragon's situation and they continuously bowed to it. You don't have to be so polite. Although it was better to cultivate the soul earlier, it did not matter. After all, he would have to face the Emperor's soul's jade bone sooner or later. Now that you are all at the Holy Lord's level of strength, if you guys were to cultivate your divine souls again, you will quickly reach the Holy Master realm and then attempt to break through the Emperor's soul's jade bones. The green dragon gave a quick look and knew what Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er's situation was. In his eyes, Lu Meng'er and Shui Shenxian could be considered to be relatively well-endowed humans. Dongfang Xinyue and Leng Yulin both inherited bloodlines and already had their divine soul. Dongfang Jing did the same in his closed-door cultivation. I'll first take the 9-turn dragon god mantra. They already do. Long Shui said, it will be even better if we meet again. Then, I shall pass on to you my self-created, 9 heavens and universe supreme unparalleled and unparalleled Azure Dragon divine cultivating technique. The Azure Dragon suddenly blurted out these words. Chen Shang and the rest were all stunned. What? It was the first time Chen Shang had talked about a cultivation technique with such a long name. Lu Meng'er and Shui Shenxian could not help but chuckle. Long Shui spat out. What lousy name is this? I say, old cyan bug, can't you have a little taste? Isn't this just a cultivation technique? Do you really need to add all of the powerful names to it? Quote. The Azure Dragon said proudly, of course, this is a supreme cultivation technique that I created myself. It can allow people and beasts to cultivate their soul within a short period of time. Only this kind of name is worthy of that. I feel that such a powerful cultivation technique is a waste of a cultivation technique just by giving it such a name. Long Shui had a look of disdain on his face as he said, you better hurry up and change it. I'm not going to change. If you have the ability to create such a powerful cultivation technique, then you can call yourself whatever you want. I won't laugh at you. The Azure Dragon snorted a few times. I just think my name is domineering enough. Look at them, are they all shocked by the name of my cultivation technique? Chen Shang laughed dryly twice, while Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er also laughed lightly. They were indeed frightened by the name. Well, you can call it whatever you want. However, if you just say no, then we'll have to see if your technique is truly that powerful, said. Letting her create her own technique was equivalent to taking away her little life. Firstly, you must know that the 9 heavens and the earth are unrivaled. Stop, Long Shui hurriedly interrupted. Old cyan bug, can't you be a little more concise? Not everyone is as bored as you are. Quote. All right. The green dragon stroked his beard, and said to Lu Meng'er and Shui Shenxian, the first thing you guys need to know is that these 9 days, I will pass on the cultivation method to you guys understand it yourselves first, since you already have the foundation of the 9-turn dragon god mantra, it will not be difficult for you to comprehend it. Quote. Lu Meng'er and Shui Shenxian both nodded their heads seriously, after which, the green dragon tapped their foreheads and passed his whatever supreme cultivation technique to the 2 girls. I also want to see how strong he is. Long Shui said. I want to see it too, Chen Shang said. The green dragon immediately gave his cultivation technique to Chen Shang and Long Shui. More than 2 hours later, Chen Shang managed to understand the impressiveness of this technique, and knew that it had improved by a lot due to the 9-turn dragon god mantra. It could allow people to progress quickly in their cultivation of the mind. Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er both had strength of Holy Lord level, so both their soul and consciousness were extremely powerful. If they followed this cultivation technique, they would very quickly be able to cultivate God's soul, so now, both Chen Shang and Long Shui admired the Azure Dragon very much. No wonder he had to come up with such a cool name. Now that you have a good foundation, cultivating your soul is too easy. However, after you cultivate your soul, your cultivation methods will have a huge change. You need to quickly adapt. The Azure Dragon replied, let this gluttonous beast guide you. Lu Meng'er and Shui Shenxian both nodded immediately. They were also feeling anxious for their souls to not be able to cultivate it, but now that they had obtained it, they felt extremely excited. Following that, the Azure Dragon explained in an extremely meticulous manner what Long Shui did not understand, and explained for an entire day. You guys should go back to that place and remember the key points that I reminded you to do. The Green Dragon saw that Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er were very knowledgeable in their comprehension, and was very happy because he already learned this technique. Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er returned to the Dark Jade Ring to cultivate while Chen Shang and Long Shui continued to chat with the Green Dragon about what had happened back then. It's very likely that the Sword Emperor went to the God's realm. Long Shui said. This guy has always been mysterious. Luckily he also left behind an inheritance, which was obtained by this little scoundrel's recognized sister. Is that so? I didn't meet him in God's realm. The Green Dragon replied, Dan Emperor, I know a little about his situation. I have to admit that he is the most powerful human I know. He will definitely be very successful in the future, as long as he can survive. What do you mean? Dan Emperor also went to God's realm. This fellow has given up even the jade bones that he painstakingly cultivated. Long Shui said. Many rankers agreed with the evaluation of the Dan Emperor. I heard that someone found out about him. He should still be in 9 Heaven World. How did you know about him in God's realm? Chen Shang also wanted to find Dan Emperor and see the elegance of a strong man. He is indeed not in God's realm, but he is coming soon. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he's actually able to send me a sound transmission from the 9 Heaven World. This is something that happened before I was sent to the divine prison. The Azure Dragon said with a smile, right now, I actually hope that he can come in. This way, I can properly entertain him. This guy is pretty good, we'll find him later and tell him about the mess you had with old Bing. Maybe he can think of something. All those years ago, most of the strong warriors were very united and had good relations with each other. It's better not, his potential is limitless, don't ruin him so early, it's best if you stay in God's realm for a while, after you have a very strong power, we can talk about it again. The Green Dragon was very worried about Long Shui and the others messing up. Where's Old Devil? The Green Dragon saw that Chen Shang did not know who the old ghost was, and said, he's Evil Emperor. He went to the Heavenly Evil Realm, then his whereabouts were unknown. There is a new Evil Emperor in the Heavenly Evil Realm, but he isn't an old ghost. Long Shui asked, Old Cyan Bug, do you know of any fellows in God's realm who are more loyal? It's not easy to recognize him. When we were in the 9 Heaven World, our dragons were relatively strong, but when we went to that damned place in the God's realm, we were no different from beasts. We were hunted specifically, especially against mythical dragons like us who don't join the Divine Hall. The Green Dragon said. Why didn't you join the temple? Although Chen Shang asked this, he felt that he wouldn't need to join any of those shrines in the future. Once I join, I will no longer be able to leave. After all, I am someone with lofty ambitions. I do not want to become someone else's subordinate. The Green Dragon said. Chen Shang and Long Shui completely agreed with the Azure Dragon's words. If it was them, they wouldn't join either, unless they created a divine hall for themselves. Is there anyone from the 9 Heavens Death Realm who is doing well in God's realm? Long Shui asked. Don't you have any organizations up there? No, the number of 9 Heaven Worlds that can go up is too little. Other than the 9 Heaven World, there weren't many other endless heaven realm that could go up. I only know that there are a few worlds that have a certain number of ways to go up, but those worlds are all controlled by deities, and no Hell Devil Emperor is around to mess things up. Otherwise, our 9 Heaven World would have flourished here a long time ago. Quote. When the Azure Dragon mentioned this matter, it got angry. Hell Devil Emperor is obviously bullying Nine Heaven World because there is no god to look after them. They are here specifically to cause trouble. Back then, the people who created the Nine Heaven World were already dead, and they died inside the Nine Heaven Devil Palace. They died without knowing why, and now that Chen Shang thought about it, he felt that there might be something fishy about it. When he told them about this matter, the Azure Dragon immediately became deep in thought. Of course, he knew about the Nine Heaven Devil Palace and some of the secrets from that year. The secret of the Nine Heaven Devil Palace was told to Chen Shang by LV Zhen, and it was the same as what the Azure Dragon had heard. If you want to know the answer, you can only go to the Nine Heaven Devil Palace. Chen Shang said. No way. The Green Dragon and Long Shui shouted at the same time. They were worried that Chen Shang would mess around. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's too far away for us. The Azure Dragon knew that Chen Shang had 7 Chaos Fire token. If Chen Shang summoned the Nine Heaven Devil Palace out, he wouldn't be able to get out even if he was trapped inside, which was even more miserable than being trapped inside the divine prison. Long Shui anxiously changed the topic, and said, where is that Feng Yuji? Why didn't I recognize her back then? And both Old Zhang and Qi Shi knew about her. Quote. Feng Yuji refines pills. It's the strong lady from the Endless Heaven realm, but she's also very mysterious, and at the same time she has a charm stronger than the Mei Emperor. Although she doesn't intentionally reveal it, she's even stronger than the Mei Emperor. The Azure Dragon replied, you've seen her. Did you guys try to see through her true appearance? I nearly lost it that year. Chen Shang shook his head. I have only seen her portrait before, and unknowingly, a period of time has passed. She really is a bewitching woman, and she is very powerful, and a pill saint herself. She's not bad. It's just that when I tried to get her to concoct the holy elixir, she offered a higher price. The Azure Dragon said again. Had quite a bit of trust in Feng Yuji. Currently, both Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were with her, and had been accepted by her as her goddaughter. Jilinger and Red Cloud were also her disciples. Alright, quickly go and get the medicinal ingredients from Tai Chang. He should have already gotten them. Hurry up and refine the holy pellet. After Long Shui finished speaking, he returned back to the dark jade ring. Chen Shang bid farewell to the Green Dragon, donned the green cloak, and flew out of the second calamity. Chapter 1729. Chen Shang had already bought the medicine for the Tianshan Dan a long time ago. Chen Shang did not say anything to Tai Chang as he took the medicine and hurriedly returned to Bane 2. At the moment, as long as he was in Bane 2, he was basically safe. Although the Green Dragon was sent to Divine Prison as a prisoner, he was still considered to be quite strong here. Unless the Hell Devil Emperor sends someone stronger to deal with the Azure Dragon. Chen Shang returned to the second Bane, and seeing that the Azure Dragon was still there, he heaved a sigh of relief. Right now, Bane 1 was looking for him in groups, and there were already many small teams outside of Bane 2. Senior Azure Dragon, if this goes on, will Hell Devil Emperor send someone stronger to this place? Chen Shang was a little worried that the Azure Dragon would be dragged down. That's hard to say. Hell Devil Emperor can't do as he pleases. He sent those people who deliberately violated the rules and were sent to the Divine Prison to capture you, but these people are all very weak. If it's someone with the same strength as me, once they were sent to the Divine Prison, it would be hard for them to leave. Unless Hell Devil Emperor has invested a huge sum of money into that guy, to let him have enough to buy some in the future. The Azure Dragon laughed heartily and stroked his beard. If there is such a fellow coming in, it would be the best. I am too bored here. If someone of senior strength enters, it will cost 1 billion god coins to leave, right? Chen Shang was a lot more at ease. Of course not, 1 billion is a price penalty Heavenly God gave me out of respect. If it was anyone else, it would probably be at least 1.5 billion. If Hell Devil Emperor wanted to bring in someone with that kind of strength, he would definitely have to give him 1.5 billion. Of course, there's only one guy who can't deal with me, at least 2. The Azure Dragon unexpectedly revealed an expectant expression. It's best if you send 2 guys with strength equivalent to mine. That way, I can have some fun. Then doesn't that mean the Hell Devil Emperor needs 3 billion gods coins? With 3 billion, what kind of concept would it have in the gods' realm? Chen Shang had asked that Peng Renyi before, and he said that the Hell Devil Emperor only had assets worth a few billion godly. Although the Hell Devil Emperor has a great reputation, his wealth is not divine money but the hell he controls. It's just that those things in hell cannot be exchanged for divine money. The divine money that he had was considered to be at the bottom of the list in the gods' realm. It'll probably just be a few billion, and I'll have to sell off a lot of properties in order to trade for it. Quote. The green dragon thought for a moment, then continued, let's see if he dares to bet now. Billions of dollars is still a large amount even for those powerful deities, and if he were to pay 3 billion to let 2 guys come in and kill you, he might not even succeed. Because of me, there's a high possibility that we might have wasted our time. Chen Shang suddenly thought of a bad possibility, and said, would Hell Devil Emperor join hands with some extremely wealthy gods? For example, the god of fortune is not lacking in money. With the god of fortune's financial resources, it shouldn't be difficult to send more gods like you. That's right, that's a possibility. That would depend on whether the god of fortune would be interested in the heavenly alchemy. However, you are underestimating me too much. Even if it's a group of gods with a cultivation level similar to mine, they might not be able to deal with me. The Azure Dragon said with a face full of confidence, my strength is not something those guys can guess. Just focus on concocting pills. If I really can't handle it, I'll just send you away. At most, you'll just have to run for your life. If you can't, then it'll be over. The green dragon patted Chen Zhang's shoulder, and then pointed at a mountain cave in the distance, indicating that he should enter, and should refine pills. Chen Shang entered the cave and took out the spirit liquid, then began to duplicate the Tianshan Dan's medicinal herbs. This was a very special kind of fruit, it looked like a crystal, but the inside was not without emotions. There was only a thin, transparent membrane that emitted a pale white light, which was called a Tianyun fruit, and its main effect was to strengthen the soul. Right now, Chen Zhang's soul had already reached a bottleneck, and the breakthrough lay in his physical body. He only needed to make his physical body stronger, and his soul would break through sooner or later. Therefore, this Tianshan Dan did not have much use to him, but for people like Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er who had just cultivated their divine soul, this was the best immortal pill. For high-level immortal pills, the most common way was to strengthen the soul. As for other uses, they were usually decided by the medicinal ingredients. The Jupan spiritual Dan that Chen Shang was currently refining was the closest to becoming a holy pellet, so it was the more precious one, and it could even be sold at a relatively high price in the divine prison. Chen Shang was refining the Tianshan Dan mainly for Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er to eat. The two of them had started relatively late with regards to the soul, but if they started refining a high-level pellet to eat, it could shorten the gap between them and others. This fruit looks beautiful, but it's not tasty at all. Long Shui said. It's just a thin film, and it's very light. Not only is it not tasty, it's also not easy to refine. Chen Shang gently tossed the Tianyun fruit in his hand up, and it actually floated up gently, as if it was an unbreakable bubble. Then how do we copy it? Asked. She had already known about Chen Zhang's terrifying ability to duplicate medicinal herbs, so the girls in the ring didn't know much about it, but now that they knew about Chen Zhang's heaven-defying ability, they were even happier. This meant that they would have an endless supply of medicinal pellets in the future. This might require a little more spirit liquid. Chen Shang very carefully used his sharp blade to scrape off a very thin and transparent piece of skin, and then dripped some spirit liquid onto that piece of fruit skin. The small piece of skin immediately started to wiggle, and emitted a gentle light, starting to grow in complete parts. Following Chen Zhang's spirit liquid dripping down, it quickly grew back. That's fine. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that he could not, because the Tianyun fruit was too strange. Tianyun fruit are transparent, unlike solid medicinal herbs that have so much meat. Wouldn't it be rare to produce pills when refining pills? No matter how I look at it, I feel that I need to be able to concoct a single pill. Long Shui said. That won't be necessary. If it were anyone else, they would need to take one pellet. I can have one pellet. Chen Shang was very confident, the number of pills produced had always been his specialty. Tianshan Dan must be expensive. Under normal circumstances, 2 Tianyun fruit will only produce one pellet. Dongfang Xinyue said. The uses of Tianshan Dan are great, especially for Shenxian and Meng'er. When the time comes, I will definitely refine more for them to eat. Chen Shang carefully picked up the Tianyun fruit that looked like bubbles. He didn't need to do anything about it, he could start refining the Tianyun fruit. Refining a Tianyun fruit into a Tianshan Dan was not easy, and Chen Shang did not have anyone to guide him. In the past, Su Meiyao had never refined a Tianyun fruit either, so he could only practice step by step. Fortunately, he was able to duplicate many Tianyun fruit with his spirit liquid. This way, he would be able to find the best way to refine the pill as he failed step by step. He took out the Yanlong furnace, released a flame to warm it up, and then placed it inside. The Tianyun fruit looked like a bubble that was emitting light, and was extremely fragile, but when Chen Shang released the flame to burn it, he did not expect the seemingly soft Tianyun fruit to release such a strong defensive power. So that's how it is. Chen Shang took a deep breath. I had read some ancient books before, and it said that Tianyun fruit would need 2 to refine 1 Tianshan Dan. The book said that it was because the Tianyun fruit itself had too little energy. But it's not true. The Tianyun fruit contains a lot of energy, it's just that this energy is very strange. It's an invisible and unique divine power. I just released a flame to burn it, so the Tianyun fruit could instinctively release that divine power to defend against it. Quote. That is to say, when you refine the Tianyun fruit, the defensive energy that you create will disappear bit by bit, and in the end, the medicine aura would be lacking, so the amount of cores they condense is small. Dongfang Xinyue also knew a little about refining pills. Whenever she met Hua Shangyu, she would ask him about some things related to refining pills. After all, they were Chen Zhang's female slaves and their relationship was very close. Chen Shang nodded his head. That's right, so when I was almost done refining, there were not many medicine aura left, unless this Tianyun fruit did not resist, then I would be able to produce many pills. The mystical divine power released by the Tianyun fruit was extremely powerful, it was actually able to extinguish Chen Zhang's strong sacred fire, causing him to have no choice but to release even stronger 5 elements sacred flames. Previously, when he was concocting Tier 8 immortal pills, he did not have high requirements for the intensity of the flames. But now, with just a single Tianyun fruit, he was able to use the 5 elements sacred flame. After a while, some sweat appeared on his forehead, because the 5 elements sacred flame was destroyed by the invisible divine power within the Tianyun fruit. What a powerful divine force! Chen Shang exclaimed. If the divine power within Tianyun fruit is not consumed like this and used entirely to refine pellets, at least 10 of them can be refined, or even more. Usually, when refining Tianyun fruit, it is only when the divine power within the Tianyun fruit has been used up to a certain extent, that it can be refined into medicine aura and medicinal powder. However, there is only a small amount left, and it is all because the Tianyun fruit's divine power has been exhausted. Chen Shang suddenly became excited. If he could overcome this problem, then when he was refining the Tianshan Dan, as long as he was refining, he could produce a lot of pills. Then what should I do? Dongfang Xinyue asked. I still don't know. I have to try everything. Chen Shang took a deep breath and started to strengthen his spirit power and flames. At the same time, he also released a strong power that formed a small-scale seal that surrounded the Tianyun fruit, preventing the spirit power inside the Tianyun fruit from escaping. At first, it was still effective, but as the divine power he released became stronger and stronger, the Tianyun fruit's resistance was also getting stronger and stronger, and his restrictions were actually not even able to hold up. Amazing. It's just a Jupin spiritual Dan and it's already so difficult to refine, let alone a sacred pill. Chen Shang already experienced how difficult it was to refine a holy pellet from the Jupin spiritual Dan. Chapter 1730. Chen Shang continuously increased his divine power and flames. He had already released the rainbow sacred flame, using the strongest state of the god purification, but even so, he still felt pressure. The ball of divine power within the Tianyun fruit continued to expand, as though it could explode at any time. Withdraw. Chen Shang anxiously removed the flames and god power, taking back the inhibition formation, if not the furnace would explode. This made Chen Shang even more surprised. Originally, he thought that he had used up a lot of these internal divine power, but now, it seems that it was just a little, and he had used up a lot of his divine power and flames. I was worried that I would hurt the Tianyun fruit, making me so careful. I didn't expect this guy to be so tenacious. Chen Shang suddenly wanted to break this Tianyun fruit, to see how the god power inside it was exploding. If you didn't stop just now, what would have happened? Long Shui really wanted to see that scene. Nothing much, it's just that the Yanlong furnace is shaking so badly, it can still withstand the explosion. Chen Shang said. I am only worried that it will be a waste of a Tianyun fruit. If the divine power inside the Tianyun fruit consumes so much during the refining, I feel that there is no problem refining 8 Tianshan Dan S out of 10, maybe even more. Chen Shang rested for a while, then began to torture the Tianyun fruit again. Seems like I can only try that move. Chen Shang closed his glasses as a series of mental cultivation methods appeared in his mind. He chanted the mental cultivation methods and suddenly, a ball of fire appeared inside the Yanlong furnace. The ball of flames did not wrap the Tianyun fruit within. Instead, it started to spin at the bottom of the Tianyun fruit, turning into a yin-yang array that slowly rotated. Tai Chi. Using the special suction force produced by the Tai Chi refining, Chen Shang pulled at the divine power inside the Tianyun fruit, causing those divine power to spin within the Tianyun fruit, unable to resist. Chen Shang could feel that the divine power inside the Tianyun fruit was slowly circulating according to his rhythm. Delighted, he immediately used the God purification, releasing the rainbow sacred flame as well as a powerful divine power to launch a fierce attack. From the start, he had felt the divine power within the Tianyun fruit begin to resist, but as the Taiji array at the bottom of the Tianyun fruit began to circulate at a rapid pace, the divine power within the fruit also began to revolve, making it impossible for it to spew out any resistance. Very good. Chen Shang saw that there was some progress and continued to control the movement of the Taiji array, as well as the power of the God purification. The Tianyun fruit was burned by the intense flames and it did not resist at all, as a change slowly happened inside its body. The originally transparent God power, following Chen Zhang's continuous burning, emitted a faint gold light, which became more and more dense, and in less than an hour, it was shining like a golden apple. This caused Chen Shang to be extremely surprised. He never thought that the massive amount of God power inside the Tianyun fruit would have such a strange scene. Using the Tai Chi refining and God purification, and it was even the most extreme method, caused Chen Shang to feel an unprecedented pressure. Chen Shang estimated the rate at which his divine power was being consumed, and couldn't help but sigh. At this rate, even if I expend all my divine power, I can only refine a cauldron of Tianshan Dan, and that's all. That is to say, if I were to refine a sacred pill, wouldn't there be no hope? Quote, refining a holy pellet is thousands of times more difficult than a Jupan spiritual Dan. Most of the 9th grade Dan Immortal S are holy saints, and none of them can refine a holy pellet unless they possess a emperor soul. Long Shui said. For example, the Dan Emperor and the mysterious Feng Yuji, they are both experts who possess emperor soul. Chen Shang took a deep breath. I was too naive. I thought that if this continued, I would be able to concoct the holy pellet. Now, I realize that without the emperor's soul, it would be difficult to concoct the holy pellet. Don't be discouraged, being able to refine Jupan spiritual Dan at your age is already not bad. Moreover, having an emperor soul is only a matter of time. Long Shui laughed. Yeah, emperor soul are not something that can be found easily. In Endless Heaven Realm, there are a lot of holy masters, but there are very few with emperor soul. Even some holy masters are not able to reach the 9th stage of Dan Immortal. And you, at such a young age, are able to refine a Jupan spiritual Dan and refine a holy pellet that is just around the corner. Dongfang Xinyue encouraged Chen Shang. Chen Shang nodded his head. I will definitely become a pill saint. The Tianyun fruit inside the Yanlong furnace shone with a piercing golden light within the rainbow sacred flame. Following Chen Zhang's continuous burning, a few white cracks suddenly appeared on its surface. Break. Following Chen Zhang's shout in his heart, his rainbow sacred flame and God power merged together to blast apart the nearly refined Tianyun fruit. The Tianyun fruit immediately exploded, releasing a burst of golden white light. If it were not for the Yanlong furnace's wrapping, that strong light would have definitely shot out from the cave and into the distance. Infinite refining. The infinite refining was raised based on the foundation of Tai Chi. It could fuse with many types of energy that were mutually exclusive to each other. At this time, the refined medicine aura S had turned into many small granules, and these small granules were all the purest, but they were mutually exclusive, so it was not easy to fuse them. However, it would be much easier for Chen Shang to use the infinite refining that he had previously comprehended. Suddenly, many spirit grain appeared from the Yanlong furnace. These spirit grain were all recorded in the heavenly alchemy. Chen Shang used his divine power to transform them into a fusion with the Taiji array, producing a dense flow of energy that emitted a strange multicolored light, causing the originally repulsive medicine aura to absorb one another. There was no need for Chen Shang to help them fuse together. They all consciously gathered together, and quickly converged into a white ball of light. It's about to happen. The medicine aura S are very dense. Although the current Chen Shang was close to running out of divine power, he was still extremely excited, because he was about to refine a batch of Jupan spiritual Dan. 8 pills. After a short moment of judgment, Chen Shang decided to split this ball of air into 8 parts and refine 8 Tianshan Dan. Divine force turned into invisible blades, splitting the cyclone into 8 uniform masses. Then, he used Taiji refining, causing these 8 small cyclones to quickly condense into a single ball, condensing into a pill. It's finally done. Chen Shang used his last bit of god power and refined 8 Tianshan Dan. How many? Long Shui asked anxiously. 8 pills. Chen Shang laughed. How long did it take me? Chen Zhang's face turned pale white. The feeling of having his energy drained tired him out. Only now did he feel how weak his body was, because after the god power was drained from his body, he was extremely tired, which meant that the coordination between his body and the god power was not good. In less than 2 hours, he managed to refine a batch of Jupan spiritual Dan. Long Shui was pleasantly surprised, and it's only 8 of them. Chapter 1731. Although Chen Shang had successfully refined a batch of Tianshan Dan, and 8 of them at that, he had used up most of his divine power just to refine the first batch. Looks like I have to eat some recovery pills when refining this Tianshan Dan in the future. Otherwise, I won't have any divine power after one furnace. Chen Shang laid on the ground and ate a handful of jaded essence pills, recovering his divine power. Won't it improve in the future? In the past when you were forging, as long as you got used to it, you would consume less energy and even increase your speed. Long Shui said, how about when you refine pills, I can lend you some of my divine power. In the past, it was because I was not familiar with that type of pill. But the Tianshan Dan that I am refining now are Jupan spiritual Dan-s, they require fire and god powers to be very strong, and they require me to use all my strength. Chen Shang recovered a little and went over to the side of the furnace. He had not opened the furnace yet, so if the Tianyun fruit had not been refined by him previously, he could produce 10 pills in one furnace. After opening the furnace, Chen Shang took out the Tianshan Dan-s. There were 8 bubbles of pills, and they were transparent, very similar to the Tianyun fruits inside. The only difference was that after these bubbles of energy were refined, the quality would become higher and the power would become unique. After consuming one pellet, he, who was recovering slowly, suddenly felt that it was as if he had entered a huge fight inside the exhausted divine sense sea. There was a huge amount of energy in his surroundings, and the Tianshan Dan was able to help him recuperate quickly. As expected of a Jupan spiritual Dan, just eating 2 would be enough to replenish my divine power. Chen Shang swallowed another pill. He, who was originally exhausted from the depletion of his divine power, had become vigorous like a dragon or tiger. Chen Shang gave 4 pellets to Long Shui, the girls Dongfang Xinyue, Pearl and Kong Bailing wanted to have a taste of this Jupan spiritual Dan. There are 2 more. This time, I have to refine even more. The Tianyun fruit that Chen Shang had just refined had been exhausted, so he had lost some of his divine power. If he had refined a complete Tianyun fruit, the number of pills he would have dropped would have definitely been more than the amount he had just now. Why don't I refine 2 of them at the same time? Long Shui said. No, with my current divine power, I can only barely refine 1 Tianyun fruit. Chen Shang shook his head. He also wanted to concoct more medicinal ingredients and concoct more pills. Previously, he could refine low-grade pills, but now he was refining Jupan spiritual Dan-s. It was not easy, he just needed to refine a portion of the ingredients. Chen Shang continued to copy the Tianyun fruit. He did not have much spirit liquid left either, he could only copy out 10 of them, and if he succeeded in refining all of them, he would have over 100 Tianshan Dan-s. Just like before, Chen Shang took 2 hours to refine the second batch of Tianshan Dan, and this time, the number of Tianshan Dan he produced was more than before. Furthermore, this was his best condition, so he gained a certain level of experience. He ate 2 pills, rested for an hour, recovered his best condition, and then continued refining Tianshan Dan. Lu Munger and Shui Shenxian had not yet cultivated their divine souls and were still in closed-door cultivation, but it would not be long before they could nurture their divine souls. Chen Shang was also really looking forward to the moment they come out from closed-door cultivation. 100 years had passed in the 9-heaven world, but Chen Shang had only stayed in the divine prison for over a month. Because the time laws in the divine prison were different from those in other spaces, in order to prevent the people in the divine prison from escaping, the time in the divine prison was extremely chaotic. DTN, Evil Dragon Graveyard, in a courtyard of the Dragon Subduing School. Master, why hasn't Junior Martial Uncle returned yet? He's been gone for over 100 years. Hua Shangyu had a face full of worry. Are you able to save him? Huang Jintian shook his head. I can't save him, he's much stronger than me right now, he can't even leave that place, but if he can't die, then so be it. Huang Jintian, who was initially in the sacred domain, had already returned. He came to DTN from the transmission array in the sacred domain, and at this moment, DTN and a few other Endless Heaven Realm S already had transmission array S. The powers in the Endless Heaven Realm were constantly expanding in DTN, wanting to take root in this space that was constantly evolving. DTN advanced at an incredible speed, the Holy Spirit energy in the air became denser and denser. Although it couldn't be compared to the heavenly realms as a whole, with this speed, he would still surpass them sooner or later. Therefore, all the powerful forces in the realm of Flame Heaven came to DTN one after another to occupy the resources and land. And the dragon vein under the dragon subduing school was originally only a spiritual crystal, but it was already evolving into a holy stone. Soon, the entire dragon vein would transform into a holy stone, and the advancement would continue. This meant that DTN wouldn't stop, he would continue to improve. Perhaps one day, he might even become a higher level space. The power that originally belonged to DTN was now growing increasingly stronger. The powerhouses of those powers were constantly breaking through as well. Without a certain level of strength, sooner or later, they would be annexed. Among the DTN, other powers that came from Endless Heaven Realm S, the strongest were the Dragon Subduing School S, Hundreds of Flowers Palace S, Devil Suppressing Divine Palace S, Ice Dragon Race S, and other established powers. The most powerful change was to Fire Divine Palace. The half-crippled Fire Emperor had suddenly become very strong, stronger than when he was an emperor. He had attacked Evil Dragon Graveyard twice, but was blocked by Zhang Sheng and Qi Shi. The powerful forces that came from the Endless Heaven Realm didn't dare to act recklessly with DTN because the White Tiger and Vermilion Bird were both here and they were both very strong. If they fought, it would probably be even worse than it was back then. Sister Shangyu, Grandpa Huang. When Wu Qianqin walked over, her face was a little pale, but the indifferent and elegant smile she revealed caused the haggard her to look extremely charming. Wu Qianqin was still the same as before. Qianqin, after a period of time, the cold poison in your body will be expelled. Hua Shangyu hurried over to support Wu Qianqin. A trace of anger appeared on Huang Jintian's face. That old bastard from the heavenly region of Holy Ice actually used profound and poison as his disciples from famous sects, and he doesn't care about the rest of the heavenly regions. Hua Shangyu's jade face also revealed a trace of anger. Wait until that little scoundrel comes back, we must teach him a lesson. Wu Qianqin's eyes were filled with yearning, she had not seen Chen Shang for a long time. The thing we need to pay attention to now is the Mei Emperor, it's all because of this woman. When Qi Shi's voice came, he had already arrived in the courtyard. Luckily we have cultivated the demon subduing heart art. As long as we pay attention, we will not be confused by the Mei Emperor. Huang Jintian nodded his head. It's just that right now, many of the powerhouses listen to her, and those who come would be hard to guard against. Qi Shi said. Fortunately Hell Devil Emperor is now gathering his power to deal with Chen Shang, otherwise, when he starts to attack Nine Heaven World, we would not be able to get by. Right now, Mei Emperor and Flower Emperor are mortal enemies. From the looks of it, Flower Emperor can suppress Mei Emperor, but he does not dare to do anything there. Huang Jintian said. Chapter 1732, Wu Qianqin and Hua Shangyu nodded, then left the courtyard and entered a transmission array, transferring to Hundreds of Flowers Palace. Seeing the two girls leave, Qi Shi sighed. If this goes on, the evil dragon graveyard will be breached sooner or later. Who would have known that there would be so many Endless Heaven Realm S appearing, each more powerful than the other? If they were to join hands and attack, there is no need for the Hell Devil Emperor to mess with them. A big battle will definitely happen to DTN. 100 years wasn't much to DTN, it was merely a matter of time. However, over the past 100 years, DTN had undergone many changes, as well as many potential dangers. The Mei Emperor that Chen Shang had always been worried about had already appeared, and had also caused a lot of trouble. Adding on to that, more and more Endless Heaven Realm appeared, and they all rushed into DTN, all of them staring at the evil dragon graveyard's holy stone and dragon veins, causing the pressure on Dragon Subduing School to become greater and greater. They can't fight, isn't this exactly what the Hell Devil Emperor wants? Huang Jintian said. That's true, if the evil dragon graveyard was attacked, Devil Suppressing Heavenly Venerable, by Yahweh, my master and the Vermilion Bird would all be involved. After that, the Hell Devil Emperor would get another batch of Hell Devil Troop S and a few Demon Masters. Qi Shi shook his head. Is there any way? Huang Jintian asked. The dragon fountain definitely cannot be allowed to leave. Looks like I can only go to the middle of profound cold ancient realm to take a look. Back then, my master had some dog shit luck there and obtained a set of divine deity. She said. Alright, you have to be careful. Huang Jintian nodded his head. It was true that the profound cold ancient realm had some kind of treasure buried inside. Some of the experts from the endless heaven realm went inside to look for it, but many of the experts started to go over, only very few managed to return. For Chen Shang, who was in the divine prison, if he knew that 100 years had passed and so many things still happened in the nine heaven world, and that Wu Qianchen was still poisoned, he would definitely return immediately. It was just that he did not know yet, and he felt that nothing big would happen to the nine heaven world after he entered the room. Chen Shang used 2 days' time to completely refine all 10 Tianyun fruit into Tianshan Dan. Lu Menger and Shui Shenxian were also in closed-door cultivation. The green dragon saw that Chen Shang had come out so quickly, and asked, "What's wrong? Isn't it going well? They came out so quickly." Quote. From the Azure Dragon's memories, refining Jupin Spiritual Dan was a rather difficult task for Chen Shang with his current strength. He felt that Chen Shang would need at least a few months to complete it. Of course it's going smoothly. I have already refined 10 batches of Tianshan Dan. Chen Shang giggled, took out a Tianshan Dan and threw it at the green dragon. Just made it. Take a look, how is it compared to Dan Emperor's? Had only been inside for 2 days, yet he had already successfully captured the Jupin Spiritual Dan and had refined 10 batches of Jupin Spiritual Dan. It has just been made. Although the Azure Dragon wasn't refining pills, he could still see through it. The quality is very good. Back then, the Tianshan Dan that Dan Emperor refined were the same as this one. When the Azure Dragon thought about how Chen Shang cultivated the heavenly alchemy, he accepted the fact. He had heard of how powerful the heavenly alchemy was, especially when it came to refining pills. Then what are you going to do to start concocting the holy elixir? The Azure Dragon asked. With my current divine power, I can only refine Jupin Spiritual Dan. Moreover, refining the holy pellet is thousands of times harder than refining a 9-grade dangerous ground. I am simply unable to do it right now, unless I can cultivate an emperor soul and possess even stronger divine power. Chen Shang said. So, you're going to start training your body? The Azure Dragon asked. Chen Shang nodded his head. It's just that without the assistance of the sacred pill, cultivating will be a bit more difficult. If you want to cultivate an emperor soul, you don't need to have jade bones. You just need to refine your bones into purplish gold. You have to know that the divine prison's time is different from other spaces. The time here is very chaotic, and sometimes a day here is a year in other spaces, or perhaps 100 years here is only a day in other spaces. Sometimes it's even more outrageous. Quote. Is this true? When Chen Shang found out about the spatial seal, he also added a time enchantment that invalidated the laws of space here. The space laws could only be used under normal conditions of time. If time was chaotic, it would be difficult to grasp the rules of the space movement. Don't worry, you better be able to cultivate an emperor soul. Even if you can't get rid of the Hell Devil Emperor's tracing mantra, it will still increase your strength a lot. The green dragon said. Chen Shang nodded. Oh right, do you have any ingredients for the holy level? Although I am unable to refine the pill into a pill, if I eat it, it will still have a good effect. However, it is not as good as the pill. The Azure Dragon asked. Blood ginseng can strengthen the body. Long Shui suddenly shouted. We can also eat blood ginseng, but the effect will be much worse than holy elixir, but we can only do this now. The green dragon said in shock, you actually have a blood ginseng, that's great. Chen Shang took out a blood ginseng. It was a blood ginseng that looked like a small dragon, and it gave off an extremely dense blood aura. After the green dragon received it, he took out a knife and cut it in half. He then hastily took out a bottle and dripped a black liquid onto the 2 halves of the blood ginseng. Was it condensed from Dragon Cohesion Kung Fu? Asked. The Dragon Cohesion Kung Fu was part of the Azure Dragon Divine Art. When Chen Shang wasn't learning the Alive Slain method, he had been using it. No, this is even more powerful than the Dragon Cohesion Kung Fu. I modified this from the Alive Slain method, but it's just the skin of the Alive Slain method. The black liquid that the Azure Dragon took out quickly grew out from the 2 halves of the blood ginseng. He then continued to cut. Not long later, he copied 10 blood ginseng, and only 1 drop each. Senior, How long did you take to condense this black spirit liquid? Chen Shang asked. It's not easy to get 1 drop a month. The green dragon said. It really isn't easy. Of course, Chen Shang was not that fast, but when he and LV Kilian were training in the alive slain method, the spiritual beads that he condensed would only need 1 spiritual bead to be able to produce 6. However, those spiritual beads were all used on the God Eclipse powder and had long been used up by him. How many do I have to eat? Chen Shang took a blood ginseng and was about to eat it. Wait, don't eat it right now. Eat it when you start cultivating. You need to eat at least 300 blood ginseng to be able to cultivate the purple gold bone. Don't worry, the spirit liquid that I condense normally doesn't have any use at all. I still have enough here. The azure dragon laughed. 300 blood ginseng. If you were to refine a sacred pill for me, it would be at least 300 pills. Chen Shang exclaimed. If we take these 300 holy pellets to the 9 heaven world, it will certainly cause a huge commotion. Of course, but if you manage to cultivate the Emperor's soul, that will be enough. If you practice the alive slain method, you can make even more powerful spirit liquids in the future. The azure dragon laughed. Are you ready? When you use the heavenly alchemy to refine your body, I will also properly cooperate with you. Quote. Chen Shang nodded and said, I'm about to begin. Just as he finished speaking, the azure dragon gave a loud shout. Dark clouds suddenly appeared in the originally blue sky, and waves of violent winds assaulted. Roo. Immediately, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Violent winds blew, and the scariest thing was that within the violent winds, there were streaks of azure lightning. This is my wind lightning domain. The green dragon then tightened the power of the wind and thunder to the size of a small house, wrapping Chen Shang up. You can start eating the blood ginseng and then use the heavenly alchemy to refine your body. If you need my wind lightning divine power, you can just directly absorb it. The green dragon said. The azure dragon knew how to use the power of wind and lightning along with the power of water, and the water contained a strong life force that could make a human's body stronger. Coupled with the stimulation of the power of wind and thunder, the power of water could be absorbed even more. Chen Shang swallowed the blood ginseng and it immediately melted into his body, causing him to feel pain all over his body. He then activated heavenly alchemy, and released a ball of flame that wrapped itself around himself. The fire energy released from the fireball stimulated his body, continuously absorbing the dense blood contract from the blood ginseng to nourish his body. It's not enough. Chen Shang then absorbed the wind and thunder energy released by the green dragon, fusing them with his flames, causing his body to be affected by several different types of energy at the same time. The green dragon's thunder power was extremely tyrannical, but under Chen Zhang's control, it became much gentler. Because of the heavenly alchemy, when Chen Shang used his berserk strength to stimulate his body, it would not cause his body to feel intense pain. The heavenly alchemy's body refinement realm was extremely powerful. It only took Chen Shang 6 hours to refine 1 blood ginseng. After that, he ate another one and continued to cultivate. Although he was wrapped in the wind and thunder energy released by the azure dragon was very leisurely sitting and watching from the side. Continue to train for 20 hours, then rest for 4 hours. The green dragon said. Just like this, after Chen Shang had eaten the 3 blood ginseng, after he finished cultivating today, he could clearly feel his body becoming stronger. I need to eat enough 300 blood ginseng. Chen Shang felt that this wouldn't take long. At least 300 blood ginseng. When the time comes, there might be some differences. In short, leave the matter of the blood ginseng to me. The green dragon said. Chen Shang rested for 4 hours before he continued to eat the blood ginseng and cultivate. Only with a large amount of sacred medicine would he be able to improve so quickly. Using the heavenly alchemy to temper his body, it would not cause his foundation to be unstable in the future, so he could cultivate without worry. Chen Shang did not know about the matters of the 9 heaven world, so he was not in a hurry to go out. He had even planned to go hunt for divine deity after cultivating the Emperor's soul. He still remembered that Yu Fan plotted against him. Before he left, he would definitely make Yu Fan suffer, if not he wouldn't be Chen Shang. If he could obtain great power, it would not be a bad thing for Chen Shang. He could hunt for divine deity, and when he went to God's realm to sell them, he would be able to earn a large amount of divine money. Although it would not go smoothly often, he would definitely try. Chapter 1733. Chen Shang had been cultivating on the second calamity star for 5 months. With the help of the green dragon, adding on to the fact that he had eaten more than 500 blood ginsengs, his physical body was already many times stronger than before. As the green dragon withdrew its wind lightning domain, Chen Shang continued to circulate the heavenly alchemy, releasing the sacred fire to wrap himself within it. The originally red flames now emitted waves of purple light, indicating that Chen Zhang's bones were turning into a purplish gold color. As long as one cultivated their bones to purplish gold, it would mean that their body would be able to produce Emperor's soul. Previously, no matter how hard Chen Shang tried, he couldn't cultivate the Emperor's soul. However, he found out later on that his body was too weak and had obstructed him, so now that he had cultivated his bones to the color of his own skin, he was able to walk this path. Shui Shenxian and Lu Meng'er had long cultivated their divine souls inside the ring, and after eating the 100 Tianshan Dan that Chen Shang refined for them, their divine souls improved at a rapid pace. After obtaining the divine souls, the two of them had become much stronger, especially in the area of artifact forging. Chen Shang bought some holy level materials for them, and they had already refined it into his own weapon of choice. Currently, they were refining that divine ship, which could allow Chen Shang to escape the tracing mantra. Of course, if Chen Shang managed to cultivate an emperor's soul, he could return to DTN. As long as the gods did not come down to deal with him, even if there was a tracing mantra, it would not pose a threat to him. Instead, he hoped that there would be more rankers chasing after him. It's a success. The ball of fire surrounding Chen Shang flashed, and Chen Zhang's eyes shone with a purple gold light. Not bad, not bad. He was faster than I expected. The green dragon nodded and laughed. Rest for a while longer and familiarize yourself with the power brought by the purple gold bone. After that, you can begin to cultivate your emperor's soul. Shui Shenxian sighed. It's a pity that there aren't any top stone, and we're about to start refining the hull. Without the top stone, it's such a pity. The god ship was made with a lot of good materials. If there was a top stone, it could make the body of the ship even stronger. Chen Shang said. Shenxian, then don't refine it, I will think of a way to refine it a little. Long Shui suddenly ran out from the ring, looked at the green dragon and laughed. Old cyan bug, you have also stayed in God's realm for hundreds of thousands of years, do you have any good materials on you? The green dragon knew that Long Shui and the other girls were going to refine a powerful divine ship, so he helped to smelt some ingredients. Aren't you guys rich in materials? The green dragon said. You're still a little short of a top stone, do you have one? Although Long Shui did not want to refine it, she also wanted to stay in the divine ship more comfortably in the future. Isn't it just a top stone? I wonder why, of course I have something like that. The green dragon laughed and took out a large snow-white rock. It was actually as big as a house. Shui Shenxian, Lu Meng'er, Dongfang Xinyue and Leng Yulan immediately ran out, as they couldn't believe that the azure dragon would actually possess such a large piece of top stone. This is a high-quality top stone, 1 tael of 1,000. For normal top stone, 1 tael of silver would make 100. The azure dragon said with a smile, I have over 20,000 jin. 20,000 jin. According to the price that the azure dragon mentioned, this was 20 million gold coins. Senior, this top stone is very powerful, we can't train with our current flames. Lu Meng'er sighed. Azure dragon grandpa, help us dissolve it. To you, it is certainly not a difficult matter. Shui Shenxian held onto the green dragon's arm, and said while grinning. Are you sure you want to refine all of these 20,000 kilograms of purest top stone into one boat? The azure dragon was somewhat surprised. If it was really refined, even I might not necessarily be able to injure this ship. Your current strength really cannot be melted. We only need 10,000 kilograms. Dongfang Xinyue said. Azure dragon grandpa, how much do you plan to give us? Leng Yulan asked in a low voice. I still want to bring 2 sets of armor from pure top stone and a large sword. I'll give it all to you. The green dragon laughed. In any case, it's useless to me. It's just that you have to work hard to raise your strength in the future. In the future, no one will be able to help you get rid of this top stone. Long Shui patted the green dragon's shoulder. Old cyan bug, don't worry, the little scoundrel will repay you in the future. Once this guy is rich, the first thing I'll do is get you out of here. Then I'll be waiting. He knew that Long Shui was right. If Chen Shang could refine a holy pellet, he only needed to go to the god's realm. After a while, he would be able to get a large amount of divine money. Shui Shenxian originally thought that it would be fine for the divine ship to have 10 kilograms of topstone S, but now that it could have 10,000 kilograms, it could make the divine ship even more powerful. Why don't we refine the Suzaku bow together and gather the 4 symbols divine weapons? Lang Yulan said. I really want to see what will happen after elder brother possesses the 4 symbols divine weapons. Lu Munger nodded, then looked towards the Azure Dragon and asked, Senior, do you know about the matters concerning 4 symbols divine weapons? I know a little, back then when old Zhang obtained the divine book. It contained the blueprints for refining the 4 symbols divine weapons. Each piece had 2 refining methods, for example the Suzaku divine weapon, there are Suzaku silk and Suzaku bow, the white tiger divine weapon, there are slaughter god's hand and killing god heart, the Xuanwu divine weapon, there are profound Wu diamond armor and the black tortoise divine hammer, the azure dragon divine weapon, there are green dragon demon slain broadsword and the azure dragon slayer divine sword. And all the refining materials are from the 4 sacred beasts. I know that this divine book is related to the deities who founded the 9 heaven world back then. Back then, our 4 holy beasts should also have been birthed from their use of the powers of heaven and earth. Quote, back then, the deities that founded the 9 heaven world were very powerful, but in the end, they all died inside the 9 heaven divine palace, so the 9 heaven divine palace also became the 9 heaven devil palace. Long Shui asked again, then what about the 7 dragons' sword? We have gathered all of them, but the 7 dragons' sword are pointing us to a place in 9 heaven world. Quote, the 7 dragons' sword are also related to that group of gods. Since you have the 7 dragons' sword, then you should know that the 7 dragons' sword is not used for fighting. Although it is possible, it is just not suitable for fighting, especially with the Tianlong sword as the head of the 7 dragons' sword. The green dragon said. Chen Shang and the rest all nodded their heads. Since you all have gathered the 7 dragons' sword, and pointed to a place, if I'm not wrong, that place should be related to that group of gods back then, but it should definitely be very safe. Back then, they disappeared very mysteriously, and they definitely knew their own fate, so they left behind some things. Chen Shang said, let's go back and visit that place. Lu Munger said, 4 symbols divine weapons mainly deals with offense and defense, although it's not much when compared to the expensive divine weapons that God's realm has, but if all 4 of them are gathered, I think there's a possibility. Lu Munger had one of the S, and she was also a refiner. She had also studied that divine book, and often studied her Suzaku silk, so she saw through many things. What possibility? The Azure Dragon asked. I know that if the 4 parts are gathered together, something will definitely happen, but I can't guess what it is. Dongfang Xinyue said, let me say it. When Munger and I had just met, we had studied that divine tree and Suzaku silk together. First of all, we will find the blueprints to refine the 4 symbols divine weapons in the divine book. The Suzaku silk that the divine craftsman refined are exactly the same as the blueprints. It's just that we've discovered a strange thing, that there are many simplified areas on the blueprints, and many spirit grain are incomplete, but they still have a certain amount of use. Quote, the green dragon frowned and said, are you saying that the 4 symbols divine weapons is not complete? Lu Munger and Dongfang Xinyue nodded. Lu Munger continued to speak. I think there is one possibility, which is to have an even stronger and stronger 4 symbols divine weapons, and one that is right above them. In order to find the strongest and most powerful 4 symbols divine weapons, one must first gather all of the 4 symbols divine weapons as 4 symbols divine weapons. Dongfang Xinyue laughed. I have an even more daring guess, and that is that in the god's realm, there might be azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise, and it was back to a very ancient time in God's realm. Maybe the God who created the 9 heaven world was trying to revive the 4 beasts back then, so he created the 9 heavens. In the end, he successfully resurrected many powerful beasts. Quote, Shui Shenxian said, it is very possible that once the 9th heaven appears, the most powerful beasts would be beasts. Furthermore, those holy beasts are innately strong, so even if they have a bit of their bloodline, as long as they can awaken it, they would be many times stronger than humans. Warm Moon and Jingjing are the same. Lang Yulan stuck out his tongue, they have the bloodline of the vermilion bird, so they are not weaker than me. Although he knew that he was born from the heavens and earth, like many powerful holy beasts, it was still too much of a coincidence now. He felt that there must be something hiding behind this, maybe it was just as Dongfang Xinyue had guessed, that they were originally strong beasts from the god's realm, but that they had just died. Old Cyan Bug, do the god's realm have any stronger divine beasts? The kind that can create shrines? Long Shui asked. No, the green dragon shook his head. No wonder our dragon is so precious up there, many deities like to use us as mounts. It seems that those powerful deities should know some things about the nine-heaven world. Looks like I still have a past life where all the mysteries are hidden in the nine-heaven devil palace. But it's too dangerous inside. We can only search for clues from the 4 symbols divine weapons and 7 dragons swords. Let's start training now. Since there are still stronger 4 symbols divine weapons then the Suzaku bow that you all are preparing to refine will not need to be added. Quote. Lu Munger and Dongfang Xinyue nodded. Then if you guys are refining right here, I'll go find Yu Fan. Chen Shang looked at Long Shuiyi, and asked with a smile, are you going or not? Or forge artifacts with them here? Quote. I'm not going, you have to be careful. Tell Little Peacock and Little Pearl to come out as well. Long Shuiyi said. After Pearl and Kong Bailing came out of the serene jade ring, the green dragon only chuckled and looked at Chen Shang with a gaze that seemed to understand what he meant. Chapter 1734. After Chen Shang cultivated the purple gold bone, he had more confidence after becoming strong, not to mention that he still had the azure dragon cloak that was lent to him by the azure dragon. He left Baintu and quickly arrived at the city where the Fengshen native bank was. He also found a few secret records that Yu Fan had left for him. Chen Shang also left a secret record here, inviting Yu Fan to come out and meet with him. Yu Fan could not see Chen Shang in the Fengshen native bank, if not he would be found out by the Hell Devil Emperor, he would definitely be scolded by Fengshen. Chen Shang rented a room in the city, then left the city so as to not get targeted by the Hell Devil Emperor. After waiting for the agreed time, he finally returned to the room inside the city. Yu Fan did not enter his room. Instead, he sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang from outside the window, it's good that you're still alive. It's just luck. Do you have a goal? I'm going to start now. Chen Shang said. Got it, your next target is this city lord's brother. This guy is not a good person, his strength is not very strong, and because his father is rather strong in God's realm, he has a set of divine deity. Yu Fan quickly told Chen Shang the information of the target. The image that Yu Fan sent over appeared in Chen Zhang's mind. To Yu Fan, Chen Shang was his money tree. As long as he could get a single divine deity, he would be able to get 20 million. Chen Shang had already gotten one for him earlier. But Yu Fan did not tell Chen Shang that after Chen Shang killed 20 people, he would definitely be sent to hell to find the penalty heavenly god. From Chen Zhang's point of view, Yu Fan wanted to kill him. Right now, he wanted to kill this bastard who didn't look the same. Yu Fan was rather strong, he would not dare act rashly without cultivating his emperor's soul, furthermore, he needed Yu Fan to give him a good goal to kill. Furthermore, Yu Fan still had Peng Renyi's divine deity on him, so he wanted to take it back, or even take Yu Fan's divine deity out. Sun Yu, this guy is not staying in the god's realm. Why would he follow his brother here? Chen Shang found it hard to understand, because Sun Yu wasn't sent to the divine prison. Chen Shang arrived at Tai Chang's residence in the middle of the night. Director Tai, long time no see. Chen Shang laughed. Brother Shen, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Is there something you need me to do? At least Peng Renyi wanted to kill him, and Chen Shang had saved him. You should think of a way to get Sun Yu out of the city. This matter should be a bit more mysterious. When the time comes, you can plot against him, injure him, and then leave the rest to me. Chen Shang said. Sun Yu, this fellow is easy to deal with, he came here mainly because he cannot stay in the god's realm, and is always bullied up there. Tai Chang said. I can arrange for him to appear, and leave this matter to me. Alright, it would be best to make sure of a time. Chen Shang said. Tomorrow at noon, at the desolate hill outside the city. Tai Chang was very confident in this matter. Chen Shang nodded and sent a sound transmission to Tai Chang. It's best if you don't let Yu Fan know. It had been over half a day since he left Baintu, but no one had come to kill him yet. He guessed that it would take some time before Hell Devil Emperor could send news over from hell. The next day at noon, Chen Shang, who was wandering outside the star system, quickly returned to the place he had come to. He quickly found Tai Chang. Tai Chang was fighting a great battle with a man. Tai Chang's strength was not bad, and the one fighting with him was Sun Yu. Although Sun Yu was not strong, the weapon in his hands and the armor on his body were all very powerful, causing Tai Chang to be unable to injure him. Chen Shang quietly came over. Without saying a word, he immediately used the water vine, releasing his strongest divine power and tied Sun Yu up. Seeing that the other party was suddenly entangled, Tai Chang immediately understood that Chen Shang had arrived. He anxiously used all his strength and brandished the gigantic hammer in his hand, and smashed it fiercely towards Sun Yu. With a loud bang, Sun Yu was smashed into the ground. As his body sunk into the ground, cracks began to appear on his body. Even if there was a full body of powerful equipment, they would still be injured by such a fierce strike without much resistance. Chen Shang immediately activated the Azure Dragon Cloak, allowing him to quickly rush over. Waving the Green Dragon Demon Slain broadsword in his hand, he used the Thunder Slash of the Dragon Slaying 7 Killing Slaying Slash, summoning waves after waves of wild thunder, slashing towards Sun Yu. Seeing that Chen Shang wanted to kill someone, Tai Chang dodged hurriedly to prevent himself from being hit by the killing intent. Killing Sun Yu was not easy either, because Sun Yu was wearing a divine armor. Chen Shang had to cut down dozens of times with Thunder Slash before killing Sun Yu. We've obtained another set of divine deity. Chen Shang looked at the divine deity in his hands, and revealed a happy smile. After he kept his divine deity, he removed Sun Yu's divine blade and armor. "This is for you, you'd better not sell it now," Chen Shang said. "I still need you to help me hunt divine deity." Tai Chang was extremely excited, because the divine blade and divine armor that Chen Shang gave him were both very precious. Tai Chang did not dare to go against Chen Shang, or else he would suffer a backlash. However, he knew that Chen Shang was not like him, he had never given him anything like this, and he knew that he could quickly get out as long as he helped Chen Shang hunt enough divine deity. "Don't tell Yu Fan," Chen Shang reminded him, "you can go back first. If you discover that Yu Fan is going to poison you, you must escape as quickly as possible." Chen Shang did not hope to easily find 20 targets using Yu Fan, it would be good if he could find a few. When he breaks off with Yu Fan, he would have to rely on Tai Chang, who is very familiar with this place. Of course, Yu Fan's power was sealed, and he could not kill people here either. Otherwise, he would not be able to get out, and he was not too worried about this, just afraid that Yu Fan would cripple him. 20 million, Chen Shang looked at the divine deity in his hands. "I don't know if the elder sister Munger and the others want it, but if they were to merge their divine deity here, their strength would also become very strong." When Chen Shang returned to Bane 2, he saw that the girls were already busy refining the Suzaku bow. Dongfang Jing had been in closed-door training for a long time and was still in the ring, otherwise she would have joined as well. The few of them work together quite well. Even if they don't have any powerful strength, with such tacit understanding, they can still refine powerful divine weapons. The green dragon watched on from the side while Long Shui ate the fruits. She only helped refine some ingredients. "We are already familiar with Suzaku Bo's, and we can merge our consciousness and then quickly draw spirit grain. For me, what is more difficult is the smelting materials, because our fire intensity is limited," Lu Munger said. Chapter 1735, Refining Divine Weapons required a lot of time, especially to refine divine weapons. Chen Shang didn't look at them for long before he left Bane 2 and returned to Bane 1. He came to look for Yu Fan again. Yu Fan already knew that Sun Yu was dead, but Chen Shang not giving him Sun Yu's divine deity made him a little angry. What about divine deity? Yu Fan found the small house that Chen Shang was in based on the diary that he left behind. The moment he saw Chen Shang, he immediately asked him through sound transmission. Of course, Chen Shang would not give his divine deity to Yu Fan, and said, "Although Sun Yu is dead, his divine deity is not in my hands yet. After I killed him, an expert suddenly appeared and snatched the divine deity away. That guy's speed is extremely fast." Chen Shang casually made up a lie, but he didn't care whether Yu Fan believed it or not. "How can this be? Tell me about how you killed Sun Yu." Yu Fan became suspicious. Chen Shang had already thought about it, and immediately told the truth with his mouth wide open. Since Yu Fan was not at the scene, he could only believe Chen Shang this time. "Have you found the next target?" Chen Shang asked. Yu Fan couldn't hide it too many times, he could count every time. "We already have a target, but it's not in this city. It's not good to kill too many people here. This time, you'll get a city that's very far away from here." The information about Yu Fan's new target was sent to Chen Shang through his divine power. "When I'm done, I'll come back and find you." "That's right, Master Yu. The frisbee you gave me was destroyed while I was still in Bane 2. Can you give me another one?" Chen Shang wanted to fish for as many benefits as possible from Yu Fan before he broke with him. "Here's $300, go buy one for yourself." "I don't have any left." Yu Fan gave Chen Shang a storage bag. Can you give me a bit more? I also want to buy a good weapon and divine armor. When I fought with Sun Yu, it was because he had too many good things on him. I'll give you 300 more. You should know how to buy more, right? Yu Fan thought for a moment, then gave Chen Shang another 300 gold. The divine deity that Chen Shang had given him before helped him earn a lot of money, so in order for Chen Shang to obtain more divine deity, he naturally had to be generous. Chen Shang secretly despised Yu Fan in his heart, so he gave him this little bit. Right now, he did not care about this little bit of money, but on the surface, he still pretended to be happy. Yu Fan did not stay for long with Chen Shang before he hurriedly returned to the Fengshen native bank. Chen Shang was walking around the city. The bounty for him was still there, and had even increased to $50,000. However, Hell Devil Emperor was not like how it was outside, where it could tell others where Chen Shang was at any time. Forget about communication between the outside and the divine prison, even if they were inside the divine prison, with a distance, it would still be difficult to immediately send a message. Chen Shang arrived near Tai Chang's residence and sent a sound transmission to Tai Chang, asking him to come out. Old Tai, leave this city with me today and never come back. Chen Shang said. Yu Fan is already suspicious of me. Last time when I killed Sun Yu, I hid it from him, and after this time, I will definitely not be able to hide it. Although Chen Shang did not tell Tai Chang about him helping Yu Fan hunt divine deity, Tai Chang had already seen through it. Brother Shen, you killed someone here. It will be difficult for you to leave this place in the future. You might even be sent to hell. Tai Chang said. You know about this too. Chen Shang frowned. Others may not know, but I do. In the past, there were a few fellows who barged into the divine prison from other places. In order to gather the gods' money quickly and leave, they plundered everywhere, and when they finally went to find the penalty heavenly god to hand over the gods' money, they were sent to hell or thrown onto the third bane. Tai Chang said. You've only killed 2 now, it's not too serious. At most, you'll need a bit more divine money to get out. Chen Shang said. Yu Fan has told me before, as long as I can help him get 20 divine deity, he would give me 1,000 divine coins and I would be able to leave this place. Tai Chang now understood why Chen Shang would do so many things behind Yu Fan's back. It was because Chen Shang already knew that the consequences of killing people here were severe. Where are you going now? After Tai Chang understood the situation Chen Shang was in, he nodded. I'm going to the Wind Eye City. I want to go there to kill a guy. My name is Yang Yan, there's a luxury hotel. Chen Shang said. The people that Yu Fan has chosen are all not bad. I have heard of that Yang Yan before. Who did he come from the god's realm with his master? His master looks after a native bank, and should have the same position as Yu Fan. Chen Zhang's eyes lit up. There were some things that would not come to him out of nowhere. Since Tai Chang had heard of it before, then there was a high possibility that Yang Yan's master was here to fish divine deity like Yu Fan. How long has Yang Yan been here? Where's his master? Quote. Tai Chang recalled for a moment, and said, it's probably been tens of thousands of years. Yang Yan and his master have never left this place, his master normally rarely appears, and the main reason he's in charge of operating the native bank is to count the money and send it up to the higher-ups. Chen Shang nodded his head. Yu Fan also did this kind of work and usually kept a low profile. Old Tai, as long as you help me get 10 divine deity, I will give you enough divine money to leave the divine prison, right? How much money do you still have left? Chen Shang asked. As long as I'm in Bane 1, I only need 1,000 gold coins. I'm still short of 700 something. Tai Chang said with a bit of disbelief in his heart. Chen Shang actually helped him leave this place. Quote. If Peng Renyi had said this, he might not have believed it, but he did not know why he trusted Chen Shang so much. There are 9 Bane stars here. What are they all for? Asked. Previously, he had asked the Azure Dragon, and the Azure Dragon didn't know what the other calamities were, because the Azure Dragon was unable to leave Bane 2. You already know about Bane 1, you should experience the terrifying old man above Bane 2. Bane 3 is a bunch of extremely vicious people. If he wants to leave the divine prison, he would need more than 100,000 gold and he will basically never be able to leave. Quote. From the 4th to the 9th Bane, there are some powerful people sealed inside. I heard that they were gods who once ruled a hall. Because they made a mistake and remembered that they are gods, they were locked up here and didn't go to hell. In the divine prison, there are only people who are unsealed and can go anywhere they want. As long as you have the ability, you can go to other Bane and come out again. However, it's very hard to come out even if there's 10% chance of that. Only now did Chen Shang understand why the Azure Dragon had stayed there for so long and didn't go out. Chapter 1736. Chen Shang asked Tai Chang to be responsible for finding a good target to hunt. As long as he obtained enough divine deity, he would be able to go to Bane to cultivate in peace. After cultivating the Emperor's soul, he would immediately leave this place. He even gave Tai Chang 100 gold coins, then he headed towards the Wind Eyes city by himself. The Wind Eyes city was a very large city, several times larger than the one in which Fengshen Native Bank was located. The native bank here was the head of the 4 great native banks, and the master of this city was much stronger than Fengshen. And the person that Chen Shang wanted to kill right now was the son of the person who was sent to control native bank. He should have the same strength as Yu Fan, who was close to becoming a god. However, Chen Shang was not afraid of him, because Yu Fan had said before that for gods like him who were sent down and had relatively powerful strength, when they came in, part of their power would be sealed by the penalty heavenly god, and they could only call for the penalty heavenly god when they were in danger. So, even if Chen Shang wanted to kill Yang Yan's father, he didn't have the guts to do so. If this Yang Yan is like his father, and has hunted quite a few divine deity in the past few years, I only need to get their divine deity. Chen Shang suddenly changed his plans. For the time being, he would not kill Yang Yan and instead go closer to him. If he wasn't chased around by the Hell Devil Emperor, the plan in Chen Zhang's mind would have gone smoothly. He used the Azure Dragon cloak and quickly arrived at the Wind Eye city. The city was very strange and there was a huge pit in the middle of the city. This pit was emitting waves of light wind at every moment, so that was why the city got its name. Legend has it that the pit was dug from the black sage iron. Chen Shang came to the hotel opened by Yang Yan. This hotel was very luxurious, it was 10 stories high, and every floor was extremely spacious, allowing many people to eat and sleep inside. After changing his appearance, Chen Shang went to the inn and released his divine power to check around. He wanted to see if Yang Yan was there, but he did not succeed, the inn was not normal, and the divine power could not penetrate through the floors. Manager, I want to see your boss, can you help me pass a message? Chen Shang came to the counter and asked. There are many people who want to see my boss every day. If my boss sees everyone, won't he tire himself to death? The manager laughed. In order to express his sincerity, Chen Shang took out a Tianshan Dan. The Jupan spiritual Dan is also very precious here, he laughed. Manager, this is a little gift from me, sorry to trouble you. Even though the shopkeeper had never seen a Tianshan Dan before, he had heard that even though he could afford it, he was still very willing to accept it as a gift. The shopkeeper laughed, then please wait a moment, I'll go send him a message. It's your business if you don't see me. Chen Shang knew that even if he wanted to pass the message, he would have to wait for the shopkeeper. Boss is willing to meet you, please go up to the 10th floor. After the shopkeeper returned, he smiled and said to Chen Shang. After Chen Shang went up to the 10th floor, he arrived at a great hall, where the boss was already waiting for him. This brother has given quite a good gift to Manager Yu. I think you really have something urgent to discuss with me. The one who spoke was Yang Yan, a sturdy young man. He smiled. Please take a seat. After Chen Shang sat down, he looked around. Boss Yang, this place is not very convenient, the things I have to discuss with you are more important. Looking at his face, Chen Shang felt that he was a good person, not someone who would do whatever he wanted. Previously, Yu Fan had told him that the people he killed were all those kind of people who committed evil deeds, such as Peng Renyi. There were other people in the hall, and they were all Yang Yan's important guests. What Chen Shang had said made Yang Yan a little unwilling. This is related to Yu Fan. Chen Shang whispered to Yang Yan. Sure enough, hearing that it had something to do with Yu Fan, Yang Yan frowned and immediately stood up. Follow me. Yang Yan bade farewell to his guests and brought Chen Shang to a secret room. Yu Fan just came here a few decades ago, but he always had a grudge against us. However, no one else knows about this matter. How do you know? You are a prisoner, Yang Yan asked. Because he told me to kill you. Chen Shang said. Even though you think I'm very weak, I can really kill you. After Chen Shang said this, Yang Yan actually smiled slightly, and did not immediately take precautions. You don't believe I'll kill you? Chen Shang also laughed. If you want to kill me, you definitely won't come to me to talk about Yu Fan, and even more so, won't tell me that Yu Fan asked you to kill me. Yang Yan laughed. as expected, you came to find me for a very important matter. Tell me, why did Yu Fan let you kill me? Do you know how serious the consequences will be if you kill someone like me who came down from the god's realm? Yang Yan asked. I don't know what serious consequences there will be, and I don't want to know either. Because I'm currently in a very bad situation, otherwise, I wouldn't have been led astray by Yu Fan. Chen Shang said with a serious face, Yu Fan told me to kill you and take out your divine deity for him. However, I know that as long as it isn't someone who is a prisoner, their divine deity will be imprinted with a seal. Yu Fan had also told me before, not to mention that Yu Fan himself is a member of the Wealth Divine Palace. Yang Yan nodded his head. You are very smart, you didn't kill me. I'm very curious now, why did you take the risk of going to hell to kill me? Quote. Chen Shang had already thought that there was something fishy about this matter, but Yu Fan had become suspicious of him. Although killing this Yang Yan was fine, but from the looks of it, if he were to kill this Yang Yan now, he would be in big trouble. In order to cooperate with Yang Yan, Chen Shang had restored his original appearance. Seeing his face, Yang Yan only needed to think for a short moment before understanding a lot of things. Yu Fan doesn't need you anymore, so he told you to kill me. He had probably let you help him hunt divine deity before, and at the same time, made you choke. Yang Yan laughed coldly. However, no matter what, you are someone who has been offered a few pieces of divine deity by the Hell Devil Emperor, he is still underestimating you. You are indeed very smart. Chen Shang said honestly. I helped him get one divine deity before, and he gave me 20 of them. 20. This fellow's appetite was too big. For someone like him, it is already a huge sum of money. However, he is still satisfied and knows that you are not easy to deal with, so he wanted to quickly eliminate you. Quote. Yang Yan laughed coldly, you probably don't know this, but Hell Devil Emperor has already taken a step forward. I don't know how much he has paid to actually send 2 war gods over, but they haven't arrived yet. War god. Chen Shang didn't know what war god meant, and the Azure Dragon hadn't told him either. You might not know much about the affairs of the god's realm, so you should know about Feng Shen and Yao Shen here. Yang Yan said. They are all the 4 great disciples of the god of fortune, and also very powerful gods. And war gods have that kind of status. As for strength, I think you probably have that kind of concept. Chen Shang nodded his head, that is to say, the strength of the war gods are below the god of fortune and the others. That's right, even if there were 10 or 100 of my teachers, they would still not be able to defeat them. As long as they come, your situation will be even more dangerous, and Yu Fan is worried that you will tell them about his situation before you die. Was very vexed that 2 war gods had actually come, but he knew that the Azure Dragon would definitely be very happy. Then wouldn't I die for sure? Chen Shang sighed. Fortunately I didn't kill you, otherwise I wouldn't have known about this. It seems that I have to thank you. If you do anything to me, I feel that I will definitely be killed by you. Although you look very weak, I still feel that way. Yang Yan laughed. However, if you kill me, it is very likely that you will go to hell to get captured by Hell Devil Emperor even faster. Also, you let me catch some information on Yu Fan. Chen Shang secretly cursed in his heart. He did not want to let Yu Fan get away with it so easily, but if he were to make a move against Yu Fan, Penalty Heavenly God would definitely make a move. I helped Yu Fan get a set of divine deity, but I didn't manage to get anything. Chen Shang clenched his fists tightly. Actually, he had also obtained a piece of divine deity. You want revenge? Yang Yan asked. Of course I want to, this Yu Fan wants to kill me too. Chen Shang said hatefully. But when Yu Fan encounters life-threatening danger, Penalty Heavenly God will make his move. When the time comes, he will send you straight to hell. Yang Yan said. But I have a way, which is to think of a way to catch him, as long as I don't kill him, and don't let him encounter any danger. As long as he could capture Yu Fan and bring him away from divine prison, at that time, he would be able to kill Yu Fan. Actually, if you want to leave this place now, you only need 10 or 20,000 God's coins. I can give you this God's coin for no other reason but to make this friend of yours. Yang Yan took out a storage bag and scanned it with his God power. Then, he saw a pile of God's money. He never thought that this Yang Yan would actually be this kind of person. Although he didn't know what intentions he had, it didn't seem like he was going to do anything to him. I don't want it anymore. I don't plan to leave this place that quickly. Chen Shang laughed. But don't worry, although I don't want your divine money, but I will be friends with you. This shocked Yang Yan. I told you about those two war gods before, they aren't weak. If you take the divine money and leave, you can avoid being hunted down by them. To be honest, I had thought of capturing you before, then thinking of a way to get more divine deity from you and your master. However, that was just a thought. Chen Shang laughed, I have my own ways to deal with those two war gods. Yang Yan shook his head and sighed. No wonder the Hell Devil Emperor paid such a heavy price to capture you. He ordered 2 war gods to come down, and each of them required at least 1 billion gods' money. You and I will let his divine money go to waste. Chen Shang laughed, I'll be taking my leave now. I need to make some preparations before those war gods come. Yang Yan cupped his hands towards Chen Shang. I hope that in the future, we can have a nice drink together in God's realm. Although we are friends, we couldn't even drink a little, what a pity. Chapter 1737. Although Chen Shang had only just met this Yang Yan, he had left a good impression on him. After Chen Shang left the Wind Eye City, he immediately returned to Bane too. He wanted to tell the Azure Dragon about Hell Devil Emperor's latest operation. Amongst the second Calamity Star, the Azure Dragon was helping Lu Munger and the others to refine equipment. You got another set of divine deity? When Long Shui saw that Chen Shang had returned so quickly, she asked while giggling. In terms of refining, she could only help refine the ingredients. The Green Dragon saw Chen Zhang's serious expression and asked, Big trouble? Chen Shang told her about Yu Fan sending him to kill Yang Yan, as well as what he said when they met each other. 2 war gods. The Green Dragon's eyes lit up, and he immediately revealed an excited expression. He was so happy that he almost jumped up. Then that's what Yang Yan said. I can't be sure if it's true or not. Chen Shang said. It's best if it's true. Hell Devil Emperor should be determined to win by sending 2 war gods over. When the time comes, I can also move my muscles. The Azure Dragon said with a smile, Don't worry, I can handle it. Although the Green Dragon was not worried, Chen Shang was. Did they want to go somewhere else? Chen Shang looked at the few busy women. For the sake of safety, it would be best to enter the ring. I don't know when war gods will come, but they will definitely be strong. Long Shui said. Lu Munger and the others also heard what Chen Shang said just now and immediately stopped their work. If you need smelting materials, take them out and I'll help you refine them. Then, find a place to place them in. Lu Munger and the others could be considered stronger amongst the women, but if those powerful war gods were to suddenly attack, the Green Dragon could not guarantee that it could protect them. How much longer do I need to finish refining the Suzaku bow? Chen Shang asked. It will take at least a year. And also needs Grandpa Azure Dragon to help us. Shui Shenxian said. The more troublesome part is inscribing the spirit grain. For us to cooperate, to be able to do so within a year, is already considered very fast. The Azure Dragon nodded. They are indeed very talented in refining. Being able to refine a divine weapon in such a short period of time is indeed very rare. It's just that their flame skills are lacking. If they had the flame at my level to smelt powerful materials, their forging speed would be even more astonishing. Quote. Even Suzaku bow that did not add top stone would have to be refined for a year. Chen Shang could imagine how long it would take to refine that divine ship in the future. Shui Shenxian and the others brought back the crafting furnace and all kinds of tools back into the ring, allowing Chen Shang to feel more at ease. Kid, you better stay here too. If you are targeted by those 2 war gods, even my cloak won't be able to save you. The Green Dragon said. Chen Shang did not want to run around either. He just wanted to quickly cultivate and leave this place as well. Come, practice with me. I'll let you get familiar with your purple bones as soon as possible. Even though the Green Dragon had told Chen Shang to attack him, he had already made his move. In an instant, he flashed to Chen Zhang's side, and chopped at Chen Zhang's shoulder with his palm. The Green Dragon did not use any type of power, and was only using its physical body to exchange blows with Chen Shang. Chen Shang, who had avoided the Green Dragon's hand blade, had a lingering fear. If he did not dodge, he felt that the bones in his shoulders would have been chopped into pieces. You reacted pretty quickly, the Green Dragon chuckled, then suddenly disappeared. Chen Shang was shocked. He was most afraid that the Azure Dragon would use this move. When he had just arrived at the second bane, the Azure Dragon would often come and go without a trace. Sure enough, when he knew that the Azure Dragon was serious, a pain suddenly came from his back. After being attacked by the Azure Dragon, he originally thought that he would be seriously injured again, but he didn't expect that he only felt pain and not a serious injury to his bones. However, he was still sent flying and smashed into a small mountain. Chen Shang anxiously flew out from the ruins, jumping into the air and borrowing the speed of the green dragon cape, he attacked the green dragon. His arms condensed his powerful divine power and combined it with his physical strength. Like a berserk axe, he struck towards the green dragon. Moreover, he even used the vast waves slash within the dragon, slaying 7 slaughtering slash. His aura was like the mighty waves of violent wind within a vast ocean, surging and surging. The azure dragon laughed, but did not dodge. Chen Shang bellowed, he swooped down from the sky and used his arm to chop at the green dragon's shoulder. Boom! A huge boom echoed out, and the ground quaked. What surprised Chen Shang was that his attack did not manage to move the green dragon. His energy was extremely terrifying, but it was completely melted by the green dragon. The earth only trembled slightly from the huge explosion, it did not crack at all, and all the energy was absorbed by the green dragon. Not bad, not bad. You have made great progress. Continue. The green dragon suddenly waved his hand, releasing green lightning that struck Chen Zhang's body and sent him flying. Chen Zhang's entire body was in pain. At the same time as he was sent flying, he anxiously controlled his body to turn around. Just as he was about to turn around, the green dragon had already arrived and kicked him ruthlessly, but he dodged it. The green dragon's kick missed, but his speed was much faster than Chen Zhang's. Even if his attack missed, he would still be able to hit Chen Shang after counter-attacking. Just like this, Chen Shang practiced with the Azure Dragon for more than 2 hours, allowing Chen Shang to clearly understand the strength of those war gods. Chen Shang did not even have an emperor soul, and the Azure Dragon was even stronger than those war gods. Of course, he could not obtain any benefits from the Azure Dragon. Although the difference was great, Chen Shang was still very excited. To be able to fight with such a strong rancor, not everyone had a chance. Chen Shang spent 6 hours every day practicing by fighting with the green dragon. This was also a type of cultivation that could increase Chen Zhang's battle experience. It's been 2 months, and none of those guys have come. Chen Shang had already completely familiarized himself with the current purple gold bone. Don't worry, it could be that time has changed a lot between here and the outside world. Maybe it's only been a moment or two since we've been here 2 months. That's right, the time inside the divine prison was very chaotic. Not long ago, Chen Shang had entered, and it had only been 100 years since DTN went to the divine prison. Now, he had stayed in the divine prison for 2 months, and DTN had only stayed there for more than 20 days. That means, even if the Hell Devil Emperor were to determine my position, it would be very difficult for her to tell the people here of my location at the first possible moment. Chen Shang said. The green dragon nodded his head and smiled, so, you don't have to be too worried. The Hell Devil Emperor knows about this as well, otherwise, he wouldn't have sent 2 war gods over. Senior, I heard that there are gods imprisoned on Bane here. I wonder if that is true. The strength of these gods are all at the level of Empyrean gods who are in control of their divine halls. However, he was just thinking about it. After all, those gods were not as easy to deal with as the Azure Dragon. Chapter 1738. The Azure Dragon frowned, and sank into deep thought. Chen Shang did not disturb him. An hour later, the green dragon regained his senses and said, there is indeed such a thing. I had previously heard of a god being sent to the divine prison. However, these gods did not break the rules, but had instead been harmed by some fellows. Quote. Chen Shang said in shock, is this true? Were those Empyrean gods in danger? I want to take a look. Quote. Don't go, it's very dangerous. The green dragon said. Chen Zhang's face was filled with disappointment as he sighed. Oh right, senior, how is the god's strength divided? War god, an Empyrean god. Chen Shang was suddenly curious about this. Generally speaking, with the Emperor's soul's jade bones and divine deity, he would be a demigod. If one could unleash the entirety of their divine deity, they would be able to become a true god. Above a true god would be the profound god, and finally, the god of heaven. True gods, profound god, and Empyrean gods were divided into the lower, middle, and upper levels. For example, I am now a middle profound god. Quote. After the green dragon had finished speaking, he took out a silver tablet. On the tablet, there was a dancing green dragon with the word, profound god, written on it. Next, there was a small Chinese character at the side. This is my plate. I used 100,000 gods coins, obtained from the Wealth Divine Palace. I heard that the refining method is the same as the gods' coins. The green dragon replied, but it's useless. It's just a symbol of strength. Speaking of benefits, there are also places to go. It would be more convenient to have this kind of brand. Chen Shang took the divine badge from the green dragon. The workmanship was not bad, he suspected that there was a top stone inside. This is also a divine artifact. At critical moments, it can be used to block the attacks of others. The azure dragon laughed. You can do it just because you gave the god money? Chen Shang asked. I also want to get one of them. It should be more convenient to go to God's realm in the future. Of course not. First, you have to go to the all-divine palaces to challenge it. Then, the all-divine palaces will give you a proof of qualifications and ask you to go to the wealth divine palace to exchange your divine money for a brand. The green dragon said, only with the qualifications from the profound god can you take the war god title exam. Of course I can pass it, but it's not necessary. Quote, war gods are mainly meant to be fighters. If there is a warlord tag, then they will be more popular. Chen Shang returned the plate to the green dragon, and asked, are there many gods in God's realm? The green dragon said, there are many people in the God's realm. Although it is the highest level world, it is connected to countless spaces like the nine heaven world, so there are also many gods. However, only the strongest upper heavenly god would be qualified to create a divine palace. Quote, Senior, you have been in the God's realm for so long. Is it fast or slow for you to train to the God level? Chen Shang felt that it would be easier to mess in God's realm with the power of at least the Azure Dragon, otherwise there would be a lot of scruples. It's too soon. I feel that I will break through very soon, and I should be able to reach super profound God's power level by cultivating here. The green dragon looked at the sky, if those two war gods come soon, then I can break through faster. Chen Zhang's brows twitched. You're going to devour them. The Azure Dragon laughed out loud, of course not, I need to use the stimulation of this battle to break through. But when the time comes, I can't kill them, or else I will go to hell. Chen Shang laughed. Then let me do it, their divine deity must be very valuable. Then we'll have to see if you have the ability to withdraw their divine deity. Chen Shang decided that after this, he would have more God Eclipse powder. If the quantity was higher, it would not be impossible for it to corrode the god's body. The profound god's divine deity and soul were great supplements for Chen Shang. Chen Shang and the green dragon started their battle again. At this moment, Chen Shang was also hoping that the war gods would hurry up because the green dragon had said that if he were to beat the dragon to the ground, the corpse would be handed over to him. In the blink of an eye, another 4 months passed. The green dragon that was impatiently waiting suddenly roared and stopped its battle with Chen Shang. You here? Chen Shang looked around, he could not see anything, and he could not sense any qi. The further away from here, the better. But, do not leave the side of the Bane, we, the profound god, are fighting a great battle, and the aftermath will not be something you can handle. The green dragon said as he kicked Chen Shang, sending him flying into his line of sight. Chen Shang was kicked into the ocean. Just as he was about to complain about it, he suddenly saw the sky turn green and flash with lightning. Is this the wind and thunder domain? Chen Shang said in shock. He was currently very far away from the Azure Dragon, and on the other side of the Bane of Calamity, even if he flew quickly himself, it would still take a few days. But now, the Azure Dragon's wind and thunder domain covered the entire Bane. Only now did he realize that the Azure Dragon had only used a tiny bit of its power when battling him. Chen Shang really wanted to go and take a look, but he knew that when he went there, the bottom of the pit would be wiped away by the aftermath of the god battle. How's it going, my darlings? Chen Shang asked the beauties in the ring. We're halfway there. What's the situation outside? Lu Munger asked. I don't know. The green dragon kicked me flying. Chen Shang very much wanted to know as well. We're out of seclusion. With her, our progress will be even faster. Dongfang Xinyue's voice was filled with joy. After quietly absorbing the vermilion bird's inheritance fruit, it has become very strong. It might even be stronger than me. At this time, Dongfang Jing's delicate voice came out. Big brother, don't listen to Aunt. I'm not that powerful. Dongfang Jing did not like fighting and killing, she was worried that Leng Yulin would drag her into fighting, although she was already used to it, she was still unwilling. Chen Shang lied on the surface of the water, thinking about how strong his emperor soul would be. Little naughty dragon, which convenient direction do you think my emperor soul will go? Chen Shang was even more curious about this because his own emperor soul was about to be completed soon. Hard to say. Long Shui was not sure either. At that time, I did not know that my Emperor Soul's ability was only its ability to eat and sleep. What is the ability of the Azure Dragon's Emperor Soul? Chen Shang replied. I didn't dare to directly ask him. I don't know either. It's very mysterious. I asked him about it back then and he brought it over while squeaking. Long Shui said. It should be very shameful, otherwise the old cyan bug wouldn't keep this a secret. What do you mean shameful? Chen Shang said. Could it be that his Emperor Soul's abilities are weak? I don't know. This is a puzzle that I have been trying to solve for many years. Long Shui sighed. Every time I think of it, my heart will always feel itchy. Munger, if you want to make the flames stronger, do you need me to do something? Last time, when he saw the few girls' faces filled with envy at the power of the Azure Dragon's flames, he had always wanted to help them strengthen their flames. This kind of thing can't be rushed. Shui Shenxian said. Grandpa Azure Dragon is a powerful middle profound god. It's normal for flames to be stronger than us. I never thought that I would be able to possess his kind of flames in an instant. But you should have a lot of room for improvement now. Chen Shang said. If you guys are at this level of cultivation, then the flames will be very strong, which means that your starting point will be higher and higher, and you guys will be stronger and stronger in the future. Chen Shang was like that. Although his cultivation was low, his strength was strong, and the requirements to level up in all aspects were many times higher than normal people, but it would make his strength stronger. If we had the fire and ice type holy fruits, it would be of great help to Yulan, Warm Moon, and Jing Jing. I don't know about that, but they all have powerful bloodlines now. Lu Munger's voice sounded. Yulan has the white dragon vein, so she can eat any kind of sacred fruit. The Warm Moon and the Silent Vermilion Bird bloodline are fire attributed. They need a holy fruit of fire attribute, or a medicine that strengthens the body like the blood ginseng. Long Shui chuckled. It's best if you have more varieties, eating too much will make you tired of it. You should know after eating blood ginseng. Okay, after the green dragon takes care of those two war gods, I will go to Bane 1 to find Yang Yan and ask if he can help me get those holy fruits. Chen Shang felt that since he had a good relationship with Yang Yan, he could obtain some of the god's realm's medicinal herbs. Although the price of the holy level's medicinal herbs was relatively high in the god's realm, it was still more than the number of 9 heaven worlds' medicinal herbs. The sky was still covered by the cyan-colored thick clouds of lightning, and the sea surface was undulating up and down. Chen Shang had already waited for an entire day, but the battle still had not ended. Seems like the fellow battling the old cyan bug is very powerful. I wonder if he'll be able to withstand it. Long Shui said. Now I'm a bit worried about him. The battle would become more and more intense. Chen Shang was also not allowed to go near to watch, he could only wait patiently. Previously, he had doubted Yang Yan's words. Now that the war god had come, it proved that Yang Yan's words were true, and the two war gods had come here. He also guessed that Chen Shang would definitely receive the protection of the Azure Dragon on Bane 2, so he could not afford to risk his life and recruit two war gods to deal with the Azure Dragon. Otherwise, if Chen Shang could get the help of the Azure Dragon for a long period of time, he would have done a huge favor to Chen Shang by forcing Chen Shang into the divine prison. This was something that the Hell Devil Emperor did not want to see. Previously, he did not know that the Azure Dragon would be locked up here, but it was only because Chen Shang had stayed in Bane number 2 for too long that made him suspicious. When he investigated later on, he did not expect that there would be such a coincidence. What the Hell Devil Emperor was most worried about was Chen Shang getting rid of his tracing mantra. If Chen Shang was allowed to continue on his carefree journey, all that he had done in the past few years would just be a wasted effort, and he would suffer heavy losses. If the Hell Devil Emperor knew that Chen Shang could refine Jupan's spiritual Dan and also duplicate a large number of holy-level medicinal herbs, he would definitely be furious because this would allow Chen Shang to quickly become stronger. Hell Devil Emperor, if these two war gods were killed by the Azure Dragon, you would be defeated. I think you should end it here. You can be considered a god already, what's the point in fighting with a small fry like me? You might as well wait until I go to God's realm in the future and we can fight face to face. Chen Shang muttered. Chapter 1739. Chen Shang was tormented by Hell Devil Emperor to the point of being unbearable. He really wished that Hell Devil Emperor could temporarily stop them from killing him. Of course, even after this round, the Hell Devil Emperor would still not let him go. He had nothing to be afraid of, because he would soon cultivate an Emperor soul and at that time, he would be even stronger. Within the 9 heaven world, as long as he was not a god, he would not be able to do anything to him. Furthermore, Lu Meng'er and the others would be able to create the tracing mantra that would allow them to get rid of the Hell Devil Emperor. Chen Shang had waited for 5 days, and the dense cyan clouds and dense lightning finally dispersed. The battle between the Green Dragon and the War God had already ended, but no one knew who won. The Azure Dragon's Wind and Thunder domain covers the entire Bane. If he wins, he'll definitely come find me. Chen Shang did not dare to go to the battlefield, afraid that there would be an accident. Not long after Qing Yun left, Chen Shang suddenly heard the Azure Dragon's sound transmission. "Why aren't you coming over yet? Do you think I've lost?" Chen Zhang's heart was in ecstasy. He quickly took out the Green Dragon cloak and flew in the direction of the Green Dragon. The place where the Green Dragon had landed was surrounded by a barren mountain. Now, it was completely flat, and there were many places with bottomless pits. After the battle, there were still strong auras left on the battlefield. Azure Dragon's clothes were in tatters, but he looked very energetic, with a ruddy complexion and an excited expression. "How amazing! You haven't even transformed into your original form and you can already defeat them." Chen Shang saw 2 strong men in tattered and thick armor lying next to the Green Dragon's feet. They do have a bit of strength and a lot of potential. They just passed the War God exam, but once they met me, they admitted their bad luck. The Azure Dragon chuckled, "I'll leave it to you. Their physical bodies and souls were severely damaged by me and they have already lost their consciousness. If I wasn't worried about going to hell, I would have definitely helped you extract their divine souls and divine deity. Now, you can only act on your own." Chen Shang nodded. Amongst the prisoners that were sent to divine prison, as long as they killed someone, the penalty Heavenly God would quickly discover them, so the Green Dragon did not dare to act rashly. But Chen Shang was a foreigner, so the penalty Heavenly God would not take the initiative to attack him. Unless Chen Shang killed a large number of people, infused himself with a large amount of killing intent, and then went to find the penalty Heavenly God, at that time the penalty Heavenly God would definitely throw him into hell mercilessly. He looked at Chen Shang from above and sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang. "This is the body of the profound God, and is many times more powerful than jade bones. Even if you have a divine weapon, it would still be difficult to easily harm their bodies. They are currently severely injured and in a coma, but their bodies have the power to defend themselves. With your current strength, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to enter their divine sense sea." Chen Shang knew his strong physical body. Even if he did not have consciousness, his self-defense was still very strong, which could protect both his physical body and the divine sense sea from harm. Of course, this was only for those with weaker strengths. If it was the Azure Dragon, it would naturally be very easy. Chen Shang tried to use his own soul-absorbing devil spell to break the defense of the 2 war gods. "I will primarily take away their divine deity and divine soul. As long as we destroy their physical bodies, when their divine souls and divine deity do not have a powerful physical body to protect them, I can succeed." Chen Shang was already prepared. The reason he used so much spirit liquid before was to create a very strong God Eclipse powder. "We have to be fast, or else their souls will be trapped in hell," Long Shui said. Chen Shang carefully held a box of God Eclipse powder and sprinkled it on one of the war god's body. "What's that?" the Green Dragon hurriedly asked. "Whether or not I can achieve it depends on this." Chen Shang laughed. This was the first time Chen Zhang's God Eclipse powder had truly been used on a god. Now, he wanted to test if the God Eclipse powder could live up to his name. When the God Eclipse powder touched the god's body, it immediately emitted a wave of silver-white light mist, which was quickly corroding the powerful profound god's body. "It's a success." Chen Shang was excited. He anxiously activated the devouring magic Kung Fu. This war god's soul is very powerful, but he isn't devouring this soul right now, he's just storing it and sealing it in a crystal ball. As for that divine deity, he didn't dare to merge it now either. Otherwise, the powerful consciousness inside would control his body and turn him into someone else. God Eclipse powder. This thing is indeed as frightening as the rumors said it is. I had originally wanted to make some of it, but after searching in the god's realm for a long time, I couldn't find any clues. The Azure Dragon was very surprised. This can only be used against this kind of unconscious god of war. If they are alive and kicking, then no matter how many God Eclipse powder I use, it would be useless. Chen Shang reaped a war god's divine deity and a powerful divine soul. As long as he could use them well, he hoped that Yu Yang could improve by leaps and bounds. Next, he used the same method to collect the other war god's soul and divine deity. Done. Chen Shang laughed mischievously as he looked at the crystal-clear divine deity in his hand. This divine deity was hidden within the divine sense sea, and his soul was also an illusory and intangible object that contained the universe. Chen Shang had already tried to hide things inside the divine sense sea before, so he had successfully hidden the storage ring inside it so that he wouldn't be discovered. He felt that he had to make good use of the divine sense sea in the future. You just became a war god and you were exterminated like this. If this were to spread to the gods' realm, it would be even more difficult for you to get along with me in the future. The fact that you have a god eclipse powder must not be spread out. The green dragon suddenly appeared beside Chen Shang, his voice serious as he warned Chen Shang. I know, Chen Shang laughed. Oh right, what's the price for this profound god's divine deity? You actually want to sell such a good thing? Of course the price is very high, usually it's for auction. I'll leave it for you to use, your physique is so special, with this thing you can help him improve faster. The green dragon patted Chen Zhang's head, you must not sell it in the god's realm. Those two divine deities might not have left their brand mark on it, it's very difficult to sell them. It is very likely that those two war gods have joined the war god hall. Quote, aren't the divine deity of normal gods who have been sent to divine prison erased, along with the imprint of the divine palace? Chen Shang frowned. Don't these two war gods have it? It's a matter of the war god shrine being erased. The war god shrine is doing business with the Hell Devil Emperor and deliberately allowed the war god to come here. The war god's shrine obviously wouldn't erase the imprint of their divine deity. The Azure Dragon explained, generally, the reason why the shrine's brand was erased was because those shrines were afraid of damaging their honor. Chen Shang understood. In that case, the Hell Devil Emperor and the War God Shrine have agreed on a price and the War God Shrine will send people down. It should be, but these two war gods should have obtained a lot of benefits as well. Maybe the storage magic treasure on them even has 2 to 3 billion gods money, but they just disappeared now. The Azure Dragon let out a long sigh of regret, with so much divine money, it will be very difficult to earn. Chapter 1740. Chen Shang also felt that it was a pity, but it was all the Hell Devil Emperor's divine money, and it would only be heartache. They have earned so much. They have to have a life to spend it. Chen Shang saw that the two corpses had already been completely corroded. The Azure Dragon stroked his beard and laughed, this time I have fought quite well. After so many years, I can finally relax my muscles. Chen Shang said, if these two war gods were sent down by the war god shrine and they were to die now, would the war god shrine still send down more war gods? Whatever they are, just kill them all. If they send the super profound god down, I would risk it all to help me break through my bottleneck. The Azure Dragon laughed, unless they send their god down, but if he were to be sent to divine prison, he would not be locked in this place with me. This number 2 Bane calamity is mine alone. Why are you enjoying Bane 2 alone? Long Shui was a little confused, even God does not have that kind of treatment, but you actually do. Even if your relationship with Penalty Heavenly God is good, you shouldn't have such treatment, right? I heard that Bane 2 was specially set up for fellows who came from the 9 heaven world. There are only a few who go to the God's realm from the 9 heaven world, and there are even fewer who get sent to the divine prison for crimes, so it can be said that I have it for myself. Long Shui asked again, those two war gods that have been sent to the divine prison should have gone to another calamity fiend. How can they be free? The green dragon laughed, maybe Penalty Heavenly God knew that I was bored and purposely allowed them to have the right to freedom. Chen Shang looked at the Bane of Star number 1 and said, Yang Yan is quite interesting. I hope that he and I can really become friends. Bring me to see this guy. If I can trust him, let me see if I can get him to bring some good stuff down from God's realm. Long Shui laughed. I really want to taste the flavor of the divine fruit. Didn't you eat earthly fruit before? Chen Shang curled his lips. The divine fruit is very expensive, I can't afford to buy it. You can think of a way. Long Shui said as she entered the dark dragon's ring, whether or not he succeeds, you have to ask him whether or not you have a way to get his hands on it. The green dragon patted Chen Zhang's shoulders, and laughed, with a little glutton like him here, you will have a hard time in the future. Chen Shang had a helpless look on his face. I'm going to Bane 1. You be careful, maybe the Hell Devil Emperor has some tricks up his sleeve. With a word of advice from the green dragon, Chen Shang immediately disappeared. This time, Chen Shang easily saw Yang Yan. This time, Chen Shang was brought to a quiet and elegant small hall. A few days ago, Yang Yan had already known that two war gods had arrived at the divine prison. Now, seeing that Chen Shang had arrived here safely, he was extremely shocked. As expected of Brother Shen. To be honest, I thought I'd never see you again. Yang Yan laughed heartily. Now we can drink 2 cups happily. Chen Shang looked at the imposing man in front of him, and started laughing out loud, saying, "Aren't you afraid that I'll cause you trouble?" "Of course I'm not afraid. No one dares to barge into this place." Yang Yan had already called him up and arranged the feast. Seeing the sumptuous meal table, Long Shui could not sit still anymore and quickly walked out of the ring. Seeing that there was suddenly a beautiful girl, Yang Yan could not help but be cautious. Chen Shang immediately explained, I am his woman, just wait and drink as much as you want. Long Shui said while grinning. He already sat down and started to plan what to eat first. Chen Shang really wanted to pat her, but she suddenly popped up. "Big brother Yang, is my little girl preventing you from drinking?" Long Shui looked at the astonished Yang Yan and stuck out his tongue. Yang Yan was unable to react. Upon hearing Long Shui's words, he immediately laughed. "Of course not, your brother Shen's wife, of course I welcome you. I'm sorry, but this little girl is just greedy." After seeing the dishes on the table, she couldn't help but run out. Chen Shang lightly pinched Long Shui's face. "No problem, just eat," Yang Yan said very straightforwardly, and right after he finished speaking, Long Shui started moving, and started tasting the dishes on the table. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief in her heart, because the current Long Shui did not have that disgusting appearance of devouring food like a wolf. Her rather elegant way of eating was a wonder in Chen Zhang's eyes. Yang Yan laughed, and raised his cup to Chen Shang, and the two of them continued to drink, while chatting. Long Shui's speed of eating also gradually increased. Yang Yan owned a hotel, and he did not plan to make money opening a hotel. Chen Shang could tell that he was a person who liked to make friends, so he was very generous and straightforward. Seeing that Long Shui liked to eat, he even got someone to serve him a table, handing over all the delicious dishes in the hotel. Both of them are disciples of the God of Fortune. Why is the difference so huge? You Fan, are very sinister." Long Shui was not afraid to say all these in front of Yang Yan, because he did not care at all. Yang Yan laughed. "Although we are the disciples of the God of Fortune, I am following him. He is a righteous man, righteous and righteous, so in order to become his disciples, we have to be like him. Doesn't that mean that there are very few disciples who can bring glory to the gods?" Chen Shang said. "Yu Fan said before, there are a lot of disciples and juniors of the Feng God, but I have never seen the Feng God more than a few times. My master is his youngest disciple, and also the weakest disciple. He was sent here to gain experience, and he is very good to both my master and me." "Oh right, big brother Yang, is the one in charge of native bank your father or your master?" The quality that Chen Shang had obtained from him before, was that they were father and son. "He's my father, he's my master," Yang Yan said. "I am my father's only son, but in order to join the Illuminating God sect, I have to acknowledge him as my master. God Feng is everywhere to take in disciples, and his disciples are fighting and scheming to get the gods' injuries. Although this will allow them to produce very powerful disciples, the conduct of these disciples is very bad." Quote. Long Shui was in complete agreement. "Then Yu Fan is that virtuous person, a very sinister guy, I have to kill him." "It's not easy to kill him. He has the penalty heavenly God watching him, so it's not easy for him to make a move." Yang Yan shook his head and laughed. "Didn't you say we could just arrest him?" Chen Shang felt that it was not that difficult. "That's right, but when you capture him, you have to make him lose consciousness in an instant, and make him faint without feeling a single bit of vigilance. Otherwise, the moment he becomes alert, he will trigger the divine will the penalty heavenly God left on him, and the penalty heavenly God will act." Yang Yan said. "This is extremely difficult. We absolutely cannot let him obtain one divine deity for no reason." Long Shui's face was filled with resentment. "Of course, but he will not leave this place for the time being. As long as his divine deity is in his hands, he will have time to think of a way to take it back from him." Yang Yan drank a cup of wine and laughed. "Perhaps I can help you think of a way." Long Shui laughed. "Big brother Yang, I heard that you are also in the business of hunting divine deity, is this true?" Seeing Long Shui being so sloppy, Chen Shang was a little worried, but he knew that Yang Yan was also that type of person. "That's right, but actually, this is something that the higher-ups have tacitly approved of. It's just that it's not easy to get an unbranded divine deity from here, there were many people who fell for it in the past. As long as we do not touch the bottom line of the penalty heavenly God and do not cause any big trouble, this is something that the people above have tacitly approved of. Quote, doesn't that mean we can make a huge fortune when we are sent down here to serve? Long Shui said. Yang Yan smiled slightly. Did Yu Fan tell you all that it's unfortunate that he was sent down? Chen Shang and Long Shui nodded. Back then, Yu Fan acted as if he was sent down to suffer. You guys might not know this, but Yu Fan and his master are people who are valued more by Feng Shen. Otherwise, how could Yu Fan have such good arrangements? Long Shui spat out. This guy, he said that he was pitiful at first, saying that he has never met Feng Shen before, and that he is weak. When he leaves the divine prison in the future, he will be left in the dust by his own fellow apprentices. Chen Shang said. No wonder he could help me get a good target so quickly, he had already set it up a long time ago, he is only missing a good hunter. Long Shui laughed. Since Big Brother Yang is a tycoon, then I won't hold back. With that, she started to wolf it down, causing Yang Yan to laugh out loud. Big Brother Yang, Chen Shang is a good hunter, take a look at him, will he be able to cooperate with you? Yang Yan said. Of course you can, I can provide Brother Shen with a good goal, and I do not want anything, but Brother Shen you must understand, if you kill too many people here, it will not be easy to get out, especially the penalty heavenly God trial and the risk of being sent to hell. If you were not beaten to death, penalty heavenly God would not normally look for you. Quote, I don't want to kill too many either. I just want to obtain a few divine deities. Then, you can get some divine money from Big Brother Yang and ask him to help me buy some things from the God's realm. I wonder if it will be too troublesome for you. Chen Shang had a divine deity on him, which could be exchanged for a lot of divine money. It was enough for him to buy a lot of things. Of course it's not troublesome, it's just that I need some time to buy things from the God's realm, and the things I buy can't be too precious. For example, Holy Pellet and Divine Pellet, they take a longer time. Yang Yan said. What about the holy level medicinal ingredients or the sacred fruit? Chen Shang only needed these, especially the fire and ice type holy fruits. You can get it pretty quickly. Yang Yan laughed. Brother Shen, could it be that you plan on staying here for a long time, before you leave? I do have such an idea. Chen Shang planned to increase his strength before he left, but he would not stay for too long. If he managed to cultivate Emperor Soul and refine the divine boat with Lu Munger, he would be able to leave the divine prison.